But y'all, honestly, thank you so much for all that just happened. Legit, that was so sweet. When I was thinking about things that were like easy and accessible, that's literally what I was hoping for. Just download a thing and get through the thing farther quickly. The whole thing took you like what, 20 minutes, 25 minutes or something. That's what I'm talking about. Like that kind of length is what I'm looking for ideally when it comes to just like something sponsorship, because it helps keep food on the table, right? And the more I do those, the more inclined they are to let me like on board with doing stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's let's see if we can implement that a little bit more, because for the longest time I still feel bad about it. It just does not feel, it just feels bad sometimes doing like sponsorshipy things because it feels like it's money grubby or whatever. But as time goes along, I start feeling less bad about that when I think everyone understands how much we all need, I don't know, money. Yeah. You better get like $20 a person. Let's see. It was more so, I think I get 190 for all that. Because it was getting everyone who downloaded it, getting to level, getting to the second board was when I actually get like the financial incentive. And so 20 people at least, or I think 16 people got to level 20. So if at least 20 people get to the second board, then I'll get more. Then if 30 people do it, then I'll get more. Then 45 is the cap. If somebody gets to board 11, then I get another extra $25 per person that does that. But I'm not expecting people to do that. That's a lot. So anything people are doing though, I appreciate. So hell yeah. Yeah, no, like in the 2010s, like, do you remember in the 10s, people, maybe I'm just shook from the past, because when it came to sponsorships, people were just like, look at this selling out money grubby whore. You can't have a fucking lick of content without trying to fucking steal people's goddamn fucking money. Nasty. Look at that content creator, always with their NordVPNs and their Raid Shadow Legends, trying to take my money. Honestly, wasting my fucking time with these stupid ass sponsorships. Hate this guy. I'm never gonna watch one of these goddamn videos again. I can't get shit. I can't have shit without some kind of monetization ruining my content. Is what it kind of felt like years ago, and so I think it kind of shook me, because I'm like, I just want a paycheck. For years, I could have did it a lot more, and I just didn't. And one could say that was a really poor business decision, and I would agree with that. I just didn't want people to think I was in it for just like the money and to exploit people. That was like the big reason why I never did.
It's very ghetto here.
I'm the cat coming every Sunday.
Thank you so much to Storm for the 27. I appreciate it. I mean, I'd love to adopt you, but I don't know if you belong to somebody. Plus, adopting a cat's kind of like a big thing. But thank you, Storm, for the 27. I appreciate it. Yeah, undefeatables for ads, it was always 3 ads. Like, one in the beginning, one in the middle, one in the end. I could have did more. Well, honestly, it was like a longer episode or something. But that's what I tried to aim for. Whew. That being said, as the slight increase of sponsorships do happen, I hope that reflects in being able to provide better content. Because what it essentially would mean is, if I have more money, eventually I want to reach a monetary goal to where I can hire an editor, right? Or somebody who like I can pay to help manage my stream, or like my VODs and stuff. And like get back in that department so I can actually like start putting out regular content on YouTube and not like get buried under the pressure. Because what I didn't realize about business and brands is there's a certain point where doing it all by yourself is just not optimal, whether for your time or your sanity or for efficiency. At a certain point, you kind of just need other people to help you out on things, because you literally can't do everything because it's no longer a hobby. And as you grow, the more responsibilities you have to take on. And so as such, it becomes harder and harder for a single person to manage it all. And I think that's the point that I hit. especially when the hyper-focused ADHDing that I had with content started to die down. Yeah, I probably should have gotten some help. Oops, but now I know. Oops. I can't do everything by myself. Oops. Yeah. I mean, I wish I would have known these things earlier, but, you know, it's... Now I know. So when I do go back into it, there's a very much so mentally healthier approach that I can go along with it. So it's good. That's kind of like the thing I'm aiming for is like, okay, well, once it does start back up, making sure that I nurture myself mentally so that I don't like let down the whole brand, and let down the people that that support me, because I do feel bad. Like, I've had people tell me that they used to wait like after school and they used to like eat their food to an undefeatable. I used to always give them one of them, like something to watch in their day to day, and for years now, I still feel bad that I like haven't been able to like. I know you guys can just watch other stuff, but it's just like, damn, that's really nice that there was like a routine that people had, and then I just stopped, and you know, yeah. It was just an era, and I'm like, but I'm still here. Fuck, my bad. Sorry. VIP. Oh, Hank, I didn't see. Oh my god, thank you. Yay! Wait, hold on. Thank you. Hold on, let me get you that right now. Hold on. Congratulations. Oh yeah. Community roles manager. Here we go. HM. There we go. VIP. There are 70 VIP roles left. Okay. This calls for a celebration. I need to put that on my fucking soundboard. Hang on. Hang on. That needs to go on my soundboard. I'm doing it right now. Hold on. Let me do that. I need it. Hold on. Let's see. Liked videos.
This calls for a celebration.
I need that. Let's see. Get my downloader. A bit louder? Okay. I have 100k points to stop Ace from spamming Kaya lines. You're the one that got me into the game. If it wasn't for you, I'd be playing... What would it be playing right now? If it wasn't for nasty Genshin Impact. So you have to deal with the consequences. Fates? Oh yeah, Fates, yeah. Engage. I would not play... I think that might be the birthday stream. Maybe. Another Fates another Engage playthrough. I mean, my birthday is in how many months? 2 months? 3 months? Yeah. Hang on. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. I was gonna like have a subscriber special or like a donation stream or something where I play through. The donation stream idea was I'll play through Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix, Rhythm Heaven Fever, Space Channel 5, like just play through a bunch of rhythm games, and for every miss, I donate $1 to charity. That's kind of a lot though. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe like 50 cents or something each. But yeah, that's a fun idea. Or like a subathon or something. I don't know. Can I be the charity? Well, no. Yeah. What's it called? The what project? It could be that. Some sort of animal charity. It could be that too.
This calls for a celebration.
Trevor Project. Yeah. Can we pick one of the older Fire Emblems? Yes and no. Those older ass Fire Emblem games stay. They stay. They stay a while. I'll say that. They stay. They have staying power. Because you know what I noticed about Fire Emblem games? I'm so into it.
Life balance, but I think
I'm so
this is
into it for like a
pushing
while. But then it starts getting to like in the later chapters, like in the 20s or whatever. And then I start to fall off a bit. Not really engage as much, but even engage a little bit. Not a lot, you know, because I'm really looking forward to chapter 25. But like in a lot of these Fire Emblem games, it's just like, okay, we get it, you know. Oh, he's Iron Man. Shit houses. Oh, don't even. 3 houses like game. Woo! Shit. You're too loud. It's 1 a.m. It's 1:30 a.m. Can't gotta be so fucking loud. G'day. Hi, Jay. Good to see you. The pinnacle of Fire Emblem. It's one of those things where I think we were so excited to get it at the time. I don't think anyone really had the capacity to judge it for what it was when we first got it. But it almost feels blasphemous in a sense of like, how could you play something and be so into it when it first came out, and then not even like that much time afterwards, you like everyone is shitting on it, right? But I don't even think it's that. I really just think it's like a product of like, oh, maybe we weren't like. Maybe we needed a little bit more time with it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we should have, you know? Saw the Alakino demo? I did. I'm not going for Alakino because I don't really know the character that well. I don't really know the character like at all. But once I get there, yeah, maybe. If I had to pay Awakening and Fate's God 3 houses made me dislike it. Whoa, Awakening got dislikes? I can understand Fate's, but Awakening? Oh no. I mean, between the 2 games, which one? Anytime I think about playing Awakening, I just want to listen to the OST or something. You know, I like anytime I think about playing Awakening, I'd rather go watch supports or listen to the music or something, but I don't know if I would. Well, do I really want to play? It kind of reminds me of the Monopoly game a little bit. Is that weird? It's just like it feels like a giant dopamine stream. You know what I mean? When it comes to Awakening, like it just, you know. It just feels like dopamine. Is that weird? Whereas it's like there's a lot of player satisfaction that you get constantly from it. There's like a lot of positive. There was a lot of positive player feedback that I think you get from that game, constantly. Is that weird? I don't know. Like where it's like to where it's like I'm good, you know, you know. I don't know. It's not bad. It's really not bad. It's just very like I'm good. It's hard to describe. It's really hard to describe. I don't know. I'm still sitting here thinking about exactly where we're gonna go with Fire Emblem games. I'm excited to think about what the future holds for the series. I'm just wondering what they took from everything for the past like modern, like. I don't know. From the past, like, let's say 5-6 years as a business, where do you think IS stands with Fire Emblem? Because they have 3 houses to think about, they have heroes to think about, and they have engaged to think about. And I don't know. Like I seriously don't know where they're like at right now, and it kind of scares me. It's like almost anything could happen when it comes to the series, and that's a little scary to me. Like I don't know. It just feels the future is uncertain.
Add Astra at
Oh, well, when I say that, I mean like the quality of the next game. I'm gonna play it regardless of what it is, right? I'm gonna try it out. I just wonder what lessons they learned from the past and what are they gonna implement, because I do think strategy RPG gameplay has a lot of room to evolve. But it also has a lot of room to overcomplicate things, and so there's like a happy medium they have to reach. And it sounds like it might be asking a lot of them, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it, you know. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I'm just. It sounds like a lot. It really sounds like a lot. Does anyone want to join me for farming specters, by the way? If people need them. I honestly think they're going to keep doing their own thing. Well, I mean, as a business, it's a business. They don't just make the games just, you know, for passion projects. They're trying to make money, right? And, you know, there are things that they can do to, you know, put their own creative touch on things. But what I worry about is if they want to make money and appeal to people, what lessons are they going to learn from Three Houses and Heroes and Engage? And are they going to be able to like to get the right thing out of it? You know what I'm saying, right? Like, are they going to take the house's structure? Are they going to take the designs maybe? Are they going to like focus a little bit less on the gameplay, more on the characters and the character interactions and stuff like that? Like, what is it that they're going to be like looking at and focusing their attention on in the next games? That's the part that concerns me. If they do it right, then, you know, we're good to go. But I'm just hoping that it's not like, you know, we take more away from Three Houses and less from Engage, and then we have a game that, like, you know, draws more from the wrong inspirations. That's not what I want. You know, if they draw from the things that are the most profitable,
enough procrastinating.
that would mean that
Let's
they
go.
would be drawing from Heroes and Three Houses, and those games have a lot of issues. So I'm like, please. Yeah, you know. If we're thinking about businesses going for the most profitable thing, that's where I'm like, okay. Yeah, like 3 houses too. Like, don't do that, please. 6 houses.
Speed of light.
Hello? Like, you know what I was thinking about earlier? I was thinking about, you know, Nier, right? And Nier's amazing, right? Nier mobile game? You know, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, are you sure?
One with nature. Clouds high. The birds call.
Don't blink. Get to the chase.
Reincarnation. Yeah, it's just like, are we here for that? Like, okay, say so. Gotcha too. I'm like, if you say so. I mean,
As one with wind and cloud.
they have to bring something it's similar to their emblem rings back. I'm sorry. Like, it. I mean, as a mechanic, less of I want to see all the old emblems again, or old Fire Emblem characters again. More of I need you to make the gameplay evolve in the way that you did, because again, that was so smart. That was so smart. What was such an excellent mechanic. And it wasn't like the gimmick of that game honestly is so strong that it almost feels like it should be a mainstay. Because I think if people don't like emblem rings, they could just not use them, right? And then to add a layer of difficulty to the game. But even if you do use them, like, it's such a strong. They really ate that. They did a really good job in terms of like implementing a new thing that would bring player appeal. So good job. It was nice. Very impressed with what they've done with that.
Fallen leaves.
Let the
Adorn
world
my night.
This sword comes shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there. Okay. There's an Octopath mobile game? Wait, really?
Don't blink.
Really? Can't it just... Sorry, I don't know. Like, maybe... Is that me being presumptuous? Like, why can't it just be a game? You know? Like, why can't it just be a game? Ugh, sorry. It just... Ugh. Really? Oh, if you say so. I guess you're right. It's Square Enix stuff. Yeah, I guess. This feels weird. I don't know. Honestly, yeah, I remember. Near rank. Wait, what? Goodbye to near reincarnation. End of service. What? And then it just come and go, and I'm just like, ugh, what was the point?
Speed of light.
Ugh. Hello.
The wind's nosy. The clouds high. The birds call.
Incoming. Hey. Don't blink. Cut to the chase.
I know I'm sitting here like playing Genshin, right? I know, like I know. Like I'm sitting here playing Genshin Impact, complaining about like gacha games and stuff. Like I guess what I'm saying is like if you were pre-established as just like a standalone game, and we come back to it because we want to see more of it or whatever, and then the way that you present it is through like a gacha game. Just to me, I'm just like I don't. Why not just? I don't know, like. Why? That is fine, actually.
Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
Hey there.
Where's the other one? Wait, what? Where'd it go? Oh.
Don't blink.
Okay, where's the other one? Still on the island? Okay, cool. This is the worst. Okay, here. Oh, that's one thing about Genshin. You know what I will say? If we're talking about Ace, like... If we're talking about, like, worries we have about me playing this game. The dangerous thing is, like, yeah, this shit takes up so much of your goddamn fucking time. Like...
Don't blink. Hey, nowhere to hide.
This game takes up so much of your time. Like, I am constantly thinking about my resin and making sure that I'm never overcapped, and it's just, it's not horrible. It's not horrible like I dread it or anything. It's definitely something I look forward to often, but I'm like, damn, like, marketing. You got me.
Time to go.
It's because it takes so long. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe it's because everyone's established, right? But I'm just like, yeah, let me go wish for Arlecchino. It takes 2 weeks to build, like 3 weeks to build. Ugh. And then more because of freaking our artifact set. It's gonna take us even longer to build it because of our artifact set. And I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even play. Like I can play, but it's like, At some point, you won't care about resin. Are you sure? Are you sure? Where? Oh. There's one.
Clouds high. The birds come.
Speed of light. Good.
Oh,
To
you
the
say
chase.
so. Alright.
Don't blink. Hey! Watch out.
So bad. I hate these.
Speed of light.
This is so unplayable. Okay, thank you. Oof.
Incoming.
One with nature. As one with wind and cloud.
The sword against shadow. Watch out.
Let's see.
Don't blink.
Today, 23rd. Today is the 23rd. Would you guys like to route with me after this? God, I can't believe these stupid specters. Ugh. God. Ugh. Especially in your case, Ace, since you aren't interested in playing that much and new characters don't interest you. I could not imagine the struggles that I see people go through when it comes to primo gems, like especially they're free to play, or like there's just like, if people really like these new Fontaine characters coming out, cause they're gorgeous. Chlorine or whatever, Miss Girl with the gun, the purple one or whatever. That is an absolutely incredible design. She looks fan-fucking-tastic. But so does Arlecchino, and I'm sitting here, I'm just like, what are you supposed to goddamn do? What? I mean, I definitely wouldn't be wishing for Arlecchino personally because she's a pyro DPS, but you know. Chlorine, okay, yeah. Whoever that character is, like, that character is fantastic. What?
One with nature. Clouds high. The birds come.
Cut to the chase.
God, I love. Ooh, love farming for these. I'm actually really glad that I don't have the motivation to wish for Fontaine characters. If I'm being, I know that we're really excited to get the Fontaine, and I am too. I promise you, I am. But like a big reason why I did not want to get attached to these characters is that it makes it so much easier to not go through the whole fucking like gotching of it all, right? Like it makes it so much easier to not go through all that because I can just like it makes it so much easier to go through that because I just don't care, right? Like I don't have the motivation to, and I can see other characters as like, I can see the characters as like, do they bring me value? Yes or no? Like, are there ways that they bring me value or what? And it's not like the character is particularly interesting on their own, you know? So I'm trying. I'm trying because I think it's like, damn. They do a good job making these characters cool and interesting and visually, like, stunning. It's honestly kind of gross. I don't know. Like, how good they are at it. It's so funny how good they are at it. Like, as I was looking at Chlorine, yeah, I was looking at Chlorine at first, and I was like, oh, that's fine or whatever. But then I started to look at Chlorine, and I was like, no, I want her. Damn. No. It's like, you got me. No. But she's very Elan coded, so like I get it, right? Like, yeah, that makes sense. Oh my god.
Stray clouds converge.
Make way for the Adeptus.
Oh, this is a good time. Could we get that that video about Scottermoosh, Wanderer, whoever the fuck. What's the difference?
Make way for the Adeptus.
Actually, I should be a couple of that. I have 1,384 pulls. That is ridiculously impressive. What? That is ridiculously impressive. Scaramouche is his Harbinger name, which is not relevant, so we call him Wanderer. Oh, okay. He's got like 4 names, right? Here, I'll help. Can't inspect those because then I'll die. She's gonna be my first C6 5-star. Are you gonna go for her weapon as well?
One with wind and cloud.
Let the world come.
I think people that can wait that long are so cool because it's like, how do you? For me, it's like, how do you sit there just biding your time knowing that a character's gonna show up, right? Because if I started playing Genshin from the very beginning and I had that mentality, Yelan would have got me. Like, Yelan would have instantly gotten me. Farina would have gotten me. Like, Yelan and Farina would have gotten me very quickly.
Time to shine.
Into the wind. Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
See you in the skies.
Well, it's weird because there was another game that I had like a whole bunch of currency saved in. I think it was like, was it Heroes at a certain point? I don't know why it was so much easier to save orbs in Heroes than it is like 3 missions in this game. I don't know. It was so weird. It's like if it wasn't so like I'd sit there.
Clouds high. The birds call.
Make way for the Adeptus.
Oh yeah, dance look too. Yeah, you're right.
Wind strike.
You know how Genshin always has those in-game servers? Yeah.
One with wind and cloud. Wind strike.
Every single time in the last section you can write feedback. Well, yeah. I like writing feedback. Yeah.
Got her.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You should get better than everyone, right? Yeah?
Time to go.
Watch out.
The wind knows me. Clouds high. The birds call.
Watch out. See
Make
you in the
Alekino
skies.
playable or I quit. They were like, get on it. Quick. It's like that Meg meme. You all think you're always better than me.
One with wind and cloud.
Oh, I love the way that it follows you.
Time to go.
So Luke. Oh, wait.
Strike.
Awesome. This is gonna sound so out there, but I actually would like to lose a 50-50 to him. If it wasn't Jean, like he would be the ideal 50-50 loss. Or even Tainari. Maybe Tainari, maybe, because now I'm thinking about like so many of these fucking characters stress me out thinking about like the supports that you'll need for them. Like, thankfully with the Luke, with Gaming, it's kind of like he already kind of has what he needs. Where the hell am I going this way? He kind of already has what he needs, so I'm like, okay, good. But if I think about a character like Tainari, I'm like, well, sorry, I skipped Yaimiko. My bad. Sorry. Oops. You have Nahida at least. Well, yeah, okay. And low key, I might be speaking a little preemptively, right? I'm not gonna say Nahida was a bad pull or anything, because I think she's great, and I know that she's gonna have like longitudinal great effects on my account. But low key, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I am not with anybody who particularly like needs with Nahida, and it really sucks. Like my acrobat coaching team, I could build Jean over Kazuha and then use Nahida instead of Yao Yao, but I really like Kazuha and what he brings, and I actually really like Yao Yao and what she brings too. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm a little too early to have her right now, or at least I don't really feel like I have like the best teams for her at the moment, and it's a little unfortunate. Yeah, Hyper Bloom. I guess when Kuki comes around, because I want it to be like Kuki, Dendro Traveler, I don't know, Barbara, Kuki, DMC, Barbara, Nahida.
Right. One with nature. Fallen leaves.
Nubulat, Lisa Taser. Well, if anyone wants to take their
Time to go.
Arlecchino fund and, you know, put it into winning my 50-50 for Nubulat, we can do that. Don't do that.
One with wind and cloud.
Nice.
Stray clouds converge.
Oh, there's more over here. Okay. You were mad at one cool story because of her, and now she's dead to you? Who?
The wind knows me. Clouds high. The birds call. Wind strike.
Make way for the attack.
Yeah, I know, my favorite. Always Spectre Farm with... Yep. Always Spectre Farm with friends. Because if you don't, it'll take fucking 10 years. Alright, come with me. This is my favorite part of the day. Thank you so much for farming with me. It makes it so much more exciting. Thank you. No, it's great. Like, it's great. I checked. Oh, there's some more here. See, why did the bounty end when there's more here? Why does this game suck? Like, what? Why did the... Oh. Oh.
The wind. As one with wind and cloud.
The book gets tired. Right. The bounty doesn't show all of them. Now, why would they do that? There could be a nefarious reason for that. Could there?
One with nature. Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
Make way for the attack.
Wind strike.
You know what they need? Pumpkin Spice Kazuha. Wouldn't that be nice? For Halloween? You'd make a great Halloween theme.
As one with wind and cloud.
Seize the
The wind
storm.
knows me.
Let the world
Fallen leaves. Adorn my night.
make way for the attack.
As one with wind and cloud.
Oh. Chaos Axis. Do I have any of these stupid Sanko pearls? Make sure you pick these up too. Or whatever. Wait, can you guys pick these up without picking up mine or no? No, I think you picked up mine. Yeah, I think you picked up mine when you confused. Never mind. Oops. I lost my 50-50 and got Tinario, so it really wasn't a loss. I'm seriously thinking about guaranteeing my C1 for Nuvolette and skipping Alecino. I would skip it for now. I would get a second rerun. That's just me. I would get it on a rerun. It's just me. 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 I would give it a bit, or I give it a bit, or I give it a bit. I give it a bit. Maybe. It's just me. It's just me. I could be wrong. Hold on, give me a second. Because I don't know what's going on with the kit, and I also feel like there's so many power DPSs, it's kind of like bleh. And then, I mean, and then you gotta farm the domain, and it's gonna take a while, and the character's cool, and she's gonna come back, and meh. So, whatever. You know, if you want to wait, that's fine. I think Nuvolette's gonna take a while to come back, so to be honest with you, I guess it would be better and longitudinally if you got Nuvolette now, because by the time it would take for Nuvolette to run again, you probably are gonna get Arlecchino in that shorter time period. So maybe you should get her. You should get her after that second rerun, and then get C1 Nuvolette now, if that makes sense, right? Because then you'll have like a bunch of badges to save too. I would get Nuvolette, I think. What was I gonna do? I was looking up. Do you still want to watch the Scar a bit? I do actually. I need to get my my route up. Give me a moment. I'll find it. Which monitor is it on? Oh, I am feeling it. Okay. Boring.
Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Boring.
If you are presently unoccupied, perhaps we could stop a while at one's abode for some repose and conversation.
It's like my favorite line in the game. It's so good. Like, it's so fucking funny.
Skyward!
Boring.
That's an Archon, by the way. That's a god saying that. Like, what?
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
I like Nuvolette. I have I'll hate them. Warming on the bench. I'm not even sure how she plays. I don't need another bench warmer. Yeah. The worst thing I would hate for you to feel is like a fear of missing out and going like, man, I should have gotten her. But you know she's coming back in a timely manner, right? So maybe somewhere around Natlin or whatever. And perhaps what's going to be even greater is that Natlin might release some new characters that synergize even better with her.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
Exactly. Yeah. See? So there might be new characters that come out that synergize better with her as time goes along. So I think the waiting game, low-key, might be the move. I think. Maybe. All right, give me that video, by the way. Where's that? Yeah, video. Where's it at? Is that calming that I hear?
Peace prevails throughout the land, and all things are made new, as buds in the spring. This is an auspicious era for humanity.
Okay, good. Thank you. I cannot wait for Yolan.
Do you guys remember?
Oh, I cannot wait for Yolan. Are you crazy? Ugh. Yeah, but seriously, look at this. It's just like, what is going on? What is going on with this? Like, y'all see this? This is amazing. This is like I love the hats. I love the hat. I love the guns. I love the colors.
Wherever in this world
it's annoying.
I carry memories
It's annoying
of
how
my
good
home.
these Genshin designs are a lot of the time, and people are just like
blade.
mommy or whatever because of the
It
boobs or
is the
something. But
last
to
link
me,
I have to
I'm
the
like,
land of my birth.
look at the accessories. Like look at the patterns. Like look at the
If
consistency
you are
in her
presently
design, and I love it.
Perhaps we could stop a while at one's abode.
It
for
just
some
feels like it's saying a
repose
lot.
and
The earrings, the hairstyle, like this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Like
Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting?
He looks really
to
nice
do?
too. I mean, I know I don't like how close to Claude's design it looks, and I know that's not the intention, but but maybe that's just to
This
say that Claude's
scenery
design
is
is
wonderful.
really good. But
Surely enough
his
to
design is
convince
fantastic
anyone to
too.
become
I don't know
a
about the other one.
The
But
secrets of the mechanical arts are too profound to convey in a few simple words.
yeah, maybe because she reminds me of
Oh,
Caitlyn.
but
Maybe that's why I
why
like her so
must the
much.
listener grow
Okay.
weary whenever I begin to divulge them?
Remember the Iridori Festival? It was supposed to be just like a book fair, but looking back, it ended up teasing the contents of Kazua's unreleased story quest and also the fate of Scaramouche. When this festival was going on, most people seemed to think that Scaramouche would stay antagonistic, that he was the villain of the story of the Five Kasen, but it turns out that wasn't quite what the point of the story was. The point was that Kuronushi's actions were always remembered, but his figure, or his character, never was. When Albedo painted his portraits, he left Kuronushi's blank so he could be left up to the viewer's imagination. But in truth, he had painted the figure of Scaramouche, who was only visible when we got the panel all wet, but when the panel dried, he'd just vanish. And it's very similar to how Scaramouche kind of just vanished from history when he deleted himself from Irminsul, and yet his actions still remained clearly in everyone's minds, although not attributed to him. Intentional or not, Ayato wasn't actually setting Scaramouche up as a villain everyone would have to fight collectively, but as one of the allies who would be fighting alongside the Traveler from the shadows. And this is the level of sheer detail and foreshadowing that Hoyoverse stuffed into the singular character. So, in this video, we're going to unpack this mess of a munchkin. We're going to talk about the designs of his different identities, mythological nods, plus historical and pop culture references, and at the very end, we'll do a little theorizing. Now, please note that this video assumes that you've either watched part 1, which is this video on screen right now, or that you are quite familiar with Scaramouche's backstory, as I will not be
Should I watch
explaining these
one,
events in this video. Alrighty, folks, with all that preamble out of the way, it is finally time to dive into the nuts and bolts of the sexy little mechanical puppet that I like to call Scaramouche. And no, I don't care that his name is now Wanderer. I recognize that Hoyo has made a decision to name him that, but as it was a stupid decision, I have elected to ignore it. Anyway, onwards.
Wait, why?
Scaramouche is a mechanical puppet, divinely created by the current Electro Archon A after losing her sister to the Conrian disaster. He ended up being a prototype for her current puppet vessel, who was deemed too weak to hold her sister's gnosis. And that's why her current Shogun puppet acts far more mechanical and robotic than Scaramouche does. She linked his weakness to his emotional state and thus removed it from her future creations. But it's those emotions that made Scaramouche who he is today, and each leg of his journey of self-acceptance and discovery had him adopting different identities, and each one is honestly worth taking a closer look at. So let's do that. Starting with the identity nicknamed the Kabukimono. The Kabukimono was the very first identity of Scaramouche, acquired shortly after he woke up in the Shake Pavilion. It was a name given to him by the people at Tatarasuna in response to his odd style of clothing, and the fact that he didn't have a name to begin with. He was, self-described, a bit of a fledgling, a baby bird, barely out of the nest. This bird motif persists throughout all of his identities, so pay attention. Kabukimono roughly translates into strange things or a weird person, but the word itself actually has some interesting history. Originally, it was a term used to describe a very specific type of samurai who wandered around during times of peace and formed street gangs and wore really brightly colored flamboyant clothing, even women's clothing. A detail that's a little more important than you'd originally think in this case. Now, later on in history, Japan would witness the rise of a new type of theater which would take its name from the infamous Kabukimono samurai due to their colorful and eccentric
Oh, that's
costumes.
cool.
This was, of course, Kabuki theater, which became extremely popular
Oh,
during the Edo
that's what that
period.
is.
The Inazuma prior to 500 years ago may actually reference the Heian era of Japan. The Heian era was a time of peace in Japan that would be followed by long periods of war and later shogunate rule. This would last through the Edo period where, on January 3rd, 1868, the Tokugawa shogunate would collapse and the Meiji Restoration period would begin. Does that name sound familiar? Because it is, unironically, Scaramouche's birthday. He
Oh,
was
wow.
born on the day that marked the end of shogunate rule. So fitting, so perfect. Anyway, the Kabukimono version of Scaramouche is dressed mostly in Heian fashion. His outfit is a karaginu, a garment worn by nobles as casual wear during the Heian era, and his haircut is the infamous hime style, or princess style cut, which was popularized during the same time period and only worn by women as far as I can tell. He's also wearing a long veil over his head, which is known as a katsugi, and generally katsugis were special garments worn by noble women whenever they ventured outside. So why is he wearing women's clothing and a women's haircut? I can't say for certain, but make a mental note of it for now because it's kind of part of his journey. Dotori's meddling in the affairs of Tatarasuna, which, by the way, is likely a reference to the nuclear meltdowns of Fukushima, pushed Scaramouche down a pretty dark path as he grew more bitter, resentful, and nihilistic. He allowed Dotori to unlock powers within him that his mother had sealed away and embraced his new role as a member of the Fatui, Kuni Kazushi the Balladeer. Whatever innocence he had as the Kabukimono was lost, and so the fledgling bird was forced from its nest. His new outfit is far more...
Is this why people were fucking annoying about him being female or something, or like not manly enough or something? Oh, why people were like threatening the artist and all that stuff? Ooh, ooh, that's a bad fandom. Ooh, ooh, that's annoying. Wow, that sucks. What? The writers very intentionally, narratively, like did that to him, right? As part of his characterization, and then that made people angry and hateful and weird. But that was like, it was like the point. That's really fucking annoying, actually. What? I can't even make artistic decisions without people doing that? Like, what? Are you crazy? Fuck you. What?
Utilitarian than the Kabukimono. There's the obvious tonal shift from the symbolic purity of the white karaginu and the black kimono and hakama combo, but there's also some less obvious stuff, like his satchels, which are crucial for any type of traveler, which is basically what he was at this point, a self-described vagrant of Inazuma.
Yep.
In truth, he's actually more of a reconnaissance agent specializing in long trips into the abyss. He was likely chosen for this job because of his resilience as a mechanical puppet. And that's probably why he gained the role of Scaramouche and the Balladeer to begin with. Every Fatui Harbinger takes on the role of one of the stock characters from the Commedia dell'arte, and it just so happens that Scaramouche was one of those characters, and that he also, as a stock character, had another role in puppet theater, notably in Punch and Judy. In the Commedia, the character Scaramucci is described as short and conceited, who loves to talk. He's a variation of Capitano, who gets himself into trouble and also gets
Oh,
himself
thank you for the
out
follow
of
up, by
it.
the way. That's so sweet.
He has the nickname of Skirmisher because he rarely goes into the heart of battle, preferring to choose his battles on the outskirts here and there. He also just never wears a mask. So yeah, he is basically perfect for this role. In this new identity, he is much more like the Kabukimono samurai than his previous self was. He's violent and unsociable. However, he also has far more kabuki theater traits than the Kabukimono. Some of his minor design elements, like the braided rope and plum blossom designs, are closely related to kabuki plays like Ume Omaru. The rope is also related to other practitioners of Inazuma swordsmanship like the Iwakura art used by the Kairagi, as well as the Amenoma smithy. And perhaps more memorably, Arataki Ito, who is also heavily kabuki themed and shares similar colors and decorative elements with the Balladeer outfit of Scaramouche. But the most notable kabuki references are actually on his hat. On either side of his veil are two shamisen paddles, which were used to play the shamisen, an instrument that was very important to kabuki theater. And on top of his hat is his fatui mask, which is painted in the style of kabuki actors' makeup. And his hat is actually a variation of an uchikatsugi, which may sound a lot like a katsuki veil, and that is because it is. It's a katsugi plus a hat, and it was also only worn by noble women in feudal Japan whenever they ventured outside. I told you that.
What? That's so cool. Wow. What? That's so intentional. What?
There's a pattern. During his time with the Fatui, Scaramouche selected a name for himself that wasn't a code name. That name was Kuni Kazushi, and it's also a pun. See, Kuni Kazushi literally means destroyer of provinces or nation destroyer, and that is what you also call a certain type of villain in kabuki theater, the Kuni Kazushi. It's also the code name for a breech-loading swivel gun from a time just before the Edo period. And you can find these cannons literally all over Inazuma. This kid literally named himself after a gun. Anyway, there are a couple new things to note in this outfit that have nothing to do with Kabuki or Kabukimonos, and everything to do with his family history. Notably, his thematic ties to the wind deity Fujin. And this tie is likely the reason why he's an Anemo user in the game. Fujin is the brother of Raijin, the god of thunder, and the two are generally depicted together. They were both born from the corpse of the goddess Izanami, and ironically, since the Shogun puppet and Skara were both crafted in the wake of Makoto's death, that would make her an allegory for Izanami, and A is therefore likely playing the role of the grieving Izanagi. Thematically, of course, not literally. Literally would be kind of weird. So the balladeer carries a bag on his back, likely in reference to Fujin's iconic bag of winds. The marking on this bag is the same as the ring on his chest. Many call this a variation of the electro symbol, and it might be. But I also think it might be 3 birds in a cage. They kind of look like hummingbirds, and while I know that's a stretch, the balladeer outfit is kind of the only one that doesn't have any bird motifs on it at all. The Kabukimono is self-described as a fledgling bird and carries a feather, while Wanderer has birds flying on his sleeves and name card. So I think it would be very fitting if this symbol here were actually birds in a cage, a fitting allegory for feeling trapped in a cycle that he can't escape from. It's not like he has anywhere to go, even if the Fatui did allow him to leave, so he's kind of just stuck in a personal samsara of his own making. And speaking of samsaras, I want to talk about Mekamush briefly because I think there's some cool stuff here, like how its name means the god who can be redeemed, but you know, design-wise, Shoki no Kami is really just a reimagination of Scaramouche's balladeer form as a giant robot. Although it's not just any robot. Shoki no Kami is actually a not-so-subtle nod to Evangelion.
Yes, that's literally, yes! Exactly! It was so cool!
Notice that you can't really unsee all of the other Evangelion references in Scaramouche's story. Like how one of the achievements that you can get while fighting the boss is called It All Comes Tumbling Down, which is a lyric from one of Evangelion's notable songs.
It all comes tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. Really? That's so cool. Get that. What? What? Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay.
Now, without spoiling the plot too much, although there will be spoilers, so here's your only warning, here are the highlights. Scaramouche is basically the main character of Evangelion, Shinji. Severely traumatized, not that mentally or emotionally stable, depressed, motherless, and has a horrible father figure in Gendo, who basically treats Shinji the same way Dottore treats Scaramouche. Shinji was also taken in by a person named Katsuragi, and at some point had to shut down a reactor to save all of the peoples. His giant Eva robot is also powered with the soul of his mother and, well, Gnosis time, anybody? And then we have the obvious design parallels between Asuka and Child, which is funny because Beta Child had an eye patch and Asuka also gets one.
Oh, what? What? Okay, wait, that makes them cool. Okay, now that actually makes them really interesting. What? What? That's cool! What? Oh my god, help.
In the show, too. Another character, Kawaru, seems very Kazuha-esque. Silver hair, red eyes, super chill vibes, both offering the acceptance and even maybe redemption that Shinji and Scaramouche want. And then we have Rei, who has like a bajillion clones, courtesy of Gendo, who, again, is not unlike Dottore if you assume that Gendo is Dottore Prime and Rei is all of his segments, which does work thematically within the, you know, greater scheme of the anime, but anyway, we're not really gonna go into that today. Are there more things I could go over here? Yes, absolutely, but I honestly think you get the idea and you should just watch the show for yourself and scream in pain. What I will say is that one of Shinji's plug suits is Wanderer-colored themed. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. Well, probably. But I'll take any excuse for a segue at this point, so... The Wanderer is the form that Scaramouche takes once he accepts all aspects of himself willingly, no longer trying to force himself to be something or someone that he's not. In this form, he basically becomes a bodhisattva. which is
A what?
basically someone who has achieved enlightenment but stays on Earth to assist others in their journey to enlightenment. If we think of a Buddha as a god within the context of Genshin, then a Bodhisattva is kind of like a demigod. Not quite human, not completely ascended either, but still capable of receiving a vision, and that's kind of the big thing. Remember how we talked about that symbol of the 3 birds trapped in a loop that was found on the ring and the Balladeer outfit? Well, as the Wanderer, those birds have been set free. You can see them on the sleeves, spread out like they're flying in an open sky, although it's way easier to see them on the motif in his name card instead. Now, the neat part about these birds is that they have these markings and overall shape that makes them look like leaves, which I think is a pretty cool reference to Kazuha and the Niwa clan in general, seeing as Kazuha's symbol is the floating maple leaf. The neat thing is that these birds are the only design motif present that have nothing to do with his newfound monkhood, as far as I can tell anyway. Because, you know, that's what he's dressed as now, a Shugenja monk. Shugenja monks are rather unique, as their self-imposed path to enlightenment comes from training outdoors on mountaintops rather than in temples or monasteries. They also practice both Buddhism and Shintoism. All combined, this is referred to as the art of Shugendo, which literally means the way to acquire power, which is extremely appropriate for Scaramouche, and I shouldn't have to tell you why. But what I will say is that this blend of Buddhist and Shinto beliefs, as well as Taoism, but that's not entirely relevant, it's kind of perfect for him. To oversimplify, Shintoism is a practice that does not adhere to a strict or regimented moral code and has no central governing authority, seeking instead to cultivate the bonds between mortal and divine rather than force them into a mold. Buddhism, by comparison, is quite strict with definitive moral codes and focuses much more on cultivating the self. Now, to be very, very clear, neither is superior to the other. They're both just different. They focus on different things. Makoto symbolically represents a Shinto mindset, the cultivation of bonds and learning to live in the moment, while A represents the far more disciplined and strict Buddhist philosophies. Oddly enough, Scaramouche thinks far more like Makoto than he does A, although he does so through a very nihilistic lens. Becoming a Shugenja monk shows how he's managed to reconcile both points of view, and funnily enough, that's also a journey that A goes through during her story quests in a much less obvious way, and I just think that's neat. Other monk-related imagery includes bells. Scaramouche wears one bell-like object from his neck, but he also fights with a pretty special bell. The neck bell doesn't seem that noteworthy at first, but there's a kind of cylinder in the middle of it that looks like it might contain something, and I think that something might be a sutra. Sutras have a long history of being tucked into metal cylinders for travel and for safekeeping. But I like to think that coupled with his bird motif, the sutra around his neck kind of makes him like a carrier pigeon. On a more tinfoil hat note, if you take this demon sigil and then flip it upside down, it is very similar to the shape of Scaramouche's neck bell. Which is kind of funny because this is the demonic sigil for Belial. And Belial is just the perfect demon name for Scaramouche, in my opinion. Or, well, it would be if he ever completed his ascension, but I digress. Belial, as a name, means worthless, or in an alternate translation, he who will never rise. And via an alternative spelling, Bal-Isle, it can mean the lord of arrogance or pride. Now, Scaramouche describes himself as worthless dross on multiple occasions, thinking that this was the reason he was discarded, and he who will never rise could mean two things. That he will never completely ascend, which he didn't, or that he will never wake up, which he was never supposed to, but he did. And given that he is not lacking in arrogance or pride, it's just overall a very well-fitting name for him. And as we continue this discussion of bells, his signature weapon is far more obvious in what it is. It's called Tule Tula's Remembrance, and it's a type of ritual bell called a ganta. And that's a bell that's generally accompanied by a vajra, often having a vajra for a handle as well. These bells were used to drive out evil spirits and symbolize obtaining wisdom, while the vajra represents the method of that obtainment. Together, they represent enlightenment. The combination of the vajra and the ganta bell usage is often used to symbolize the union of dualities, bliss and emptiness, male and female, truth and fiction, you get the idea. It's perfect for symbolizing the merging of his past and future, as well as Shintoism and Buddhism. The weapon name might seem a little bit out of place, though, as it references the real-world location of Toledo, which went by the local name of Tule-Tula. This was a city in Spain, of all places, that was sometimes called the City of Three Cultures due to its mix of Christian, Islamic, and Jewish influences following the fall of the Roman Empire. In Genshin, this is actually a city in the desert, known instead by the nickname the City of Sapphire, and was home to Tignari's ancestors. It's still fitting for Scaramouche, though, due to its blue color scheme. And the whole three cultures thing is also neat because Scaramouche represents three cultures. He was made
Hi,
with the
Teddy. Good to see
technology
you.
of Conria, steeped in the culture of Inazuma, and chose to reside in Sumeru. For the first time in his life, Scaramouche is no longer wearing women's headwear. This new hat might look similar to the Uchikatsugi, but it's actually called a hangai. This is usually a wood slat hat, woven in the pattern of a mandala, and it's meant to represent the halo of the Buddhas. It's also super appropriate then that his hat turns into Scar's wind halo during combat. This is also the type of hat that most Shugenja monks wear, although theirs are a lot smaller. They're also known for carrying a type of staff with golden rings on it called a shakujo. This can be used as a percussive instrument and as a sign of rank or status, or as a way to alert people of a monk's arrival. Scaramouche does not have a staff like this, but he does have shakujo ornaments hanging from his hat, which I think is neat. And the rest of his hat, though, it's just one giant lotus. Okay, so remember how hangai hats are supposed to represent a mandala? Well, almost every mandala pattern out there contains at least one lotus flower. Now, lotuses are symbolic of the divine, especially when it comes to Buddhas. Some Buddhas use them as seats, some Buddhas left a trail of lotuses behind them as they walked, and other Buddhas were said to have been born from lotuses. It's kind of a neat thing here, because there are legends and Genshins of Nilapala lotuses blooming at the feet of the Moon Sisters and the Goddess of Flowers. And the lotuses of the Goddess of Flowers later birthed the entire race of Jinn that lived in the desert. Just another reference to Scaramouche's attempt at true godhood, I think. The fun part here is that he has a lot in common with the popular Japanese bodhisattva called Jizo, whose primary role is to protect children and also travelers. Statues of him often appear in groups of 6 along the roadsides of Japan, and Jizo himself is actually very closely tied to the number 6, as he is.
New player, new account. Old account that started like right when Genshin started, but then I didn't play it for 3 years. So then I started playing again in January. The furthest I got when I first started playing Genshin was Lisa's beginner quest. And then I just recently started playing it back in January, so I'm still fairly new.
Is called the Lord of the Six Ways. Very, very fitting for our former 6th Harbinger, the current protector of the child Buddha, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Because that's basically what he is now. He's like her bodyguard of some sort. And if you had any doubts that he'd actually protect Nahida, Scaramouche actually really respects her. His praise is very rare, so you know that when he dishes out a massive compliment like this one, you know he means it, even if it's poorly disguised as self-praise. And the best part about this, I think, is that in accepting his new role as her protector, he effectively becomes Nahida's Kagemusha, which is exactly what his mother was for the original Electro Archon. Like every other character in Genshin, Scaramouche's combat style and kit is chock full of references. The funniest one I've noticed is how he just fights like Gonrian robots, especially Ruin Guards.
Really?
The 1-2 punch, the stomp, the launching of missiles from his back, even his element absorption effect seems to be based on Ruin Drakes, as is his ability to fly.
Oh.
He even has their jetpack wings when he dashes.
Oh, he
during
does,
the
doesn't he?
sailing. I just find
Oh.
this incredibly amusing, and I had to share it. On a more serious note, Zara over on Twitter wrote an amazing thread and a whole Google Doc on the meanings behind all of his skill naming and his constellations. I will give a very brief recap of the contents of that research, but I'm also going to link to their doc in the description box, so definitely check it out if you want to learn more. It's full of really good stuff. So his normal attacks basically reference the purging of evil spirits, kind of like his signature weapon does, as well as seizing victory under the guidance of a Buddha, something he currently does. His skill, which creates a lotus halo behind him, is a clever allusion to the way flowers are used as an allegory to teach no actors important lessons about their acting as they grow and mature, and not let their youth, or in this case their past, divine them in the future. His burst is in sharp contrast to this moral lesson, though, as it's referencing a different type of comic interlude found in both No Theater and Commedia dell'arte. Anyway, Scaramouche represents all of the Japanese theater, and it is all over his constellations, which is what I want to talk about next. We got our first look at Scaramouche's constellation very early on via the Fatui Harbinger constellation wheel, and it looked something like this. But the playable constellation ended up looking like this instead. They are similar, but they are still pretty different. The implication here is that the constellations can change, but that's a little bit odd because constellations denote fate, and Mona has said on several occasions that fate is inevitable and cannot be changed, so even the voice at the end of the interlude says something to that effect, and yet Nahida says outright that Scaramouche's fate has changed, but it might take some time to take effect. So I'm confused there, but here we are. Now, you could argue that this is just an artistic thing and that actual constellations will have more details than what's on the Fatui wheel, but that doesn't really explain how Child's Narwhal is nearly identical. The only difference here is that his actual constellation has more swirlies. Everything else is the same. Also worth mentioning is the fact that Scaramouche is the only non-Archon character besides the twins to have constellations that depict himself. Other non-human beings like Xiao or Ganyu do technically have themselves as their constellations, but only in their beast forms, not as humans. My hypothesis here is that in his original constellation, he was a Kokeshi doll, but in his new constellation, it's the result of his ascension into godhood. So Pinocchio became a real boy and kind of got his face put up in the sky.
Pinocchio, that too.
But funnily enough, his constellation is called Peregrinus, which should remind most of you of the peregrine falcon. Again, more fun bird references. But it's also likely a reference to a philosopher of the same name. See, Peregrinus, the philosopher, has a life story that seems to parallel Scaramouche's, especially since the only really complete account we have of his life is written in the form of a really critical parody, by a guy who didn't like him that much. And I think it's funny because the only account that we had of Scaramouche's life for a time was a fairy tale. To summarize a rather complex narrative, Peregrinus was very early on accused of parricide, so the murder of a family member, which forced him to leave his homeland. Later on, he rose to a position of authority within a Christian community, which could parallel the Fatui if we assume Russian Orthodox connections, and was afterwards imprisoned by the Romans. He then renounced his inheritance, kind of like how Scaramouche loses the Gnosis, and then wandered around the world until he ended up in Egypt, where he publicly burned himself to death, kind of like how Scaramouche deleted himself in Sumeru. Is it a coincidence? Maybe, but I still think it's kind of fun to share. Moving on to his individual constellations, I need to give a little bit of context for you. I briefly talked earlier about No Theater without any explanation about it at all. But we're only going to get more No Theater references from here on out, so it's kind of important that you understand what it is and what I'm talking about. So listen up. Kabuki and No are both types of traditional Japanese theater, but while they often tell similar or even the same stories, the way that they present these stories is very different. Kabuki actors wear flamboyant costumes, heavy makeup, and use wild movements and vocals in their performances, while No Theater uses masks with much simpler subdued costumes and somber tones. Kabuki developed to appeal to the working class, so it was designed to be much easier to access and understand, while No was aimed towards nobility, and full of profound themes that could be very difficult for most people to understand easily and quickly. Now, there is another type of traditional Japanese theater that I think is worth mentioning called bunraku, which is kind of like both Kabuki and No, except that this time it's a puppet theater. It's only really referenced once during the Shoki no Kami fight, in the combat arena, because that's called joruri, which is a type of music used in bunraku theater. Anyway, despite all the Kabuki references and Scaramouche's overall design, the names of his constellations seem to reference No plays instead, and that's why you needed some context. The first constellation references Furyu, a special No performance that's something like a Shinto prayer song discussing the meaning of life. It's always the opening act, so it's very fitting for a first constellation. This is also kind of symbolic of his Kabukimono era, as he wonders, who am I and why am I here? His second constellation references the No play Ebira. It's essentially about a monk who is visited by a ghost of a warrior while dreaming beneath a plum tree. But what's neat about this is that Scaramouche's Fatui outfit is actually littered with plum blossoms. So consider this constellation his foray into his role as a harbinger. His third constellation references the play Yugao, which means Lady Moonflower, and this is a story based on another story of the same name from the Tale of Genji. It seems to be just a tragic love story, and as far as I can tell, it literally has nothing to do with Scaramouche. However, it does remind me of the doomed love of a Seelie and the Traveler from Afar, and since the Seelies were related to the Moon Sisters and Scaramouche and the Moon Sisters share the lotus symbolism, maybe we can think of this Lady Moonflower as the Lady of the Lotus, so a reference to his lotus symbolism and maybe his ascension into godhood, since that seems to be what the lotuses represent. Godhood, that is. His fourth constellation might reference a play about Ukifune, which means a boat set adrift. It's a play about a princess from the Tale of Genji who was faced with choosing between two suitors. In the original tale, she couldn't decide and instead became a nun, but in the No play, she ended her life instead. Now, Scaramouche may not have had to choose between two suitors, but he did try to delete himself from Irminsul, so this does seem kind of fitting, as he, like Ukifune, was able to be reborn as a result. His fifth constellation is just, well, roughly translated, it seems to mean what remains of the Wandering Lord. So, yeah, that's kind of it. It's literally, hey guys, I'm the Wanderer now. What's up? Yeah. The final constellation, however, doesn't reference a play at all, but instead takes its name from the kabuki mist curtain, known as a kasumimaku. These were special curtains used to hide musicians and such on stage while they were not performing. I think this is pretty fitting as his final constellation because once he came to terms with himself, he decided to become Nahida's shadow. And no one remembers him after all, so he can move around quite freely and take care of the necessary dirty work, so Nahida does not have to. Again, if you'd like to learn more about his constellations a little bit more in depth, I will have a link to Zara's full Google Doc in the description, so please check that out. I'd like to end this video not with Bohemian Rhapsody due to copyright reasons, but instead with a small theory, because I think there's a possibility that Scaramouche might have yet another identity that we have not covered. Now, like I said in the beginning, Scaramouche is completely mechanical in nature, but he's not made of metal or porcelain. He's made of wood. In Nahida's fairy tale, she states that he was carved from the wood of a white tree. And yes, I acknowledge that this is from a book that is clearly labeled as an allegory, but hear me out. The Wings of the Forest Wind Glider has another story which focuses on the Animo, Geo, and Electro Archons having a debate. The topic of the debate is irrelevant for right now, but each Archon is described in terms related to their true form. Venti is called the wind who had taken human form, Zhongli is a talking stone, and A is described as a wooden thing made of electro. Now, obviously, we know that Venti is a wind sprite, so that checks out. And while we don't know Zhongli to be a talking stone, we do know that he's an Adeptus. And there are many tales that say Adepti possess crystalline hearts. Now, given that Zhongli has taken on many Exuvias or bodies over the years, it's very possible that his true form really is a stone. Therefore, A being something made of wood might have some merit. It's also never clearly stated what type of being or yokai the Raiden twins are, apart from being born of lightning. But Scaramouche's constellation seems to be based off of a Kokeshi doll, a simple wooden doll with no arms or legs. Now, we also know that both he and the Shogun puppet were crafted using an art that originated in Conria, and thus far, Conrian's technology has direct connections to wood. Not only do Abysslings carry ley line branches for some reason, but Ruin Guards and Graders, while not made of wood, are still full of branches. White branches. We also know from A's character stories that she crafted the Shogun puppet from, quote, parts of herself. So if the puppet is made from white wood and also parts of A, using Conrian techniques, then isn't it very likely that A created the Shogun puppet from her own branches on the Irminsul tree? Like, basically every instance of white or silver wood and trees in Genshin is referencing Irminsul thus far. And we know that Nahida was also created in such a way, although she's not mechanical. Plus, it would make sense that the branches of a tree of memories would be a source material for Totori's segments, since those segments are meant to be snapshots of his many perspectives throughout his life, and he was only able to create them by studying Scaramouche, who is made of white wood. So, if Totori's segment puppets are based on himself and the Shogun puppet is based on A, then who is Scaramouche based off of? The answer, I think, is Makoto. Now, I know this sounds weird, but hear me out. Scaramouche has the same views on the world as Makoto, only twisted into more of a negative light due to his obvious history. He talks about the transience of life in contrast to A's unchanging eternity. A also deemed him too weak for the Gnosis, something she likely thought of Makoto since being the keeper of the Gnosis is what led to her death. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Apart from their shared fragility, they seem to share similarities in design as well. Note that Makoto wears light-colored kimonos while A wears darker ones. Scaramouche, as the Kabukimono, his original form, wore the same colors. Now, Makoto is only ever pictured with her parasol as well, and isn't it interesting that Scaramouche wears a hat with a similar shape accompanied by lots of jokes about other people using it for shelter from the rain? Even Makoto's hairpiece seems to reference Scaramouche. Her primary flower is either a plum or camellia blossom, which can also be seen in Scaramouche's balladeer outfit, and the fan from the same headpiece is also present in his signature artifact set, the Husk of Opulent Dreams, on the flower, goblet, hat, and timepiece, again accompanied by plum blossoms. Furthermore, Scaramouche, as both the Kabukimono and the balladeer, wore items that were generally exclusive to noble women of Japan, emphasis on the women. Specifically, the Katsugi veil as the Kabukimono and the Uchikatsugi hat of the balladeer. Plus, Scaramouche and Makoto are both more associated with swords than A is, as A generally used a spear. But what really sold me on this idea was the mark on the back of the Shogun puppet and on the back of Scaramouche when he's using his skill. The Shogun has a Mitsudomoe symbol, while Scaramouche has the Electro symbol. But the Mitsudomoe literally fits in the negative space of the Electro symbol, and that's when I remembered this line that A said.
When lightning flashes, it casts a shadow. My name means shadow.
And since Makoto was the Electro Archon and A was her shadow, it would make sense if the Electro symbol was the symbol of Makoto, while the Mitsudomoe, the negative space, the shadow, was the symbol of A. In other words, in her grief, A tried to bring back her sister from the dead and instead ended up with Scaramouche. And that would mean that Scaramouche is an incarnation of Makoto in the same way that Nahida is an incarnation of Rukkhadevata. They're born of the same source, the whole "you are me in the next samsara." I both love and hate the implications of this because on the one hand, it's a really neat little concept, but on the other hand, I'm still kind of baffled at Conria's reasons for possessing such an art in the first place. Like, what on earth were they doing? There is no way of knowing what Conria was up to, but I do know what I am up to and what I am doing. I am taking a moment to thank all of you for watching this video. No, seriously though.
How do you figure this shit out? That's the thing that gets me. Like, it's how? Quest recap. Oh, what video was gonna watch with y'all? Hold on. Watch later. Where was it? Like videos? Holy shit, what? His teaser? Oh no. Where are my favorites? Hello? Hello?
To throw away your life.
Oh. What's this?
Legend has it that long ago, the long nights were the den of dangers untold. The children would huddle at home and light the hearth, awaiting the adults' return.
spark cannot shatter all shadows until it sets all ablaze. Or else, to the other end of light, lie still bleak shades.
What? I wouldn't watch this yet? What? Why? Why not? Are there spoilers in it? Have you seen the end? Oh my god, Venti dies? Wait. Venti dies? Is that what happens? Oh, maybe I shouldn't watch it. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, maybe I won't watch it. Yeah, never mind. Let's see. We'll see what the videos recommend though. Oh shit, what? Okay, then I won't watch it. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I can wait, I can wait. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I don't mind waiting. Hold on. Ooh, what about this one?
Not one, not two, but three brand new characters have been revealed for Genshin Impact version 4.7. We're going to go through their rarity, their weapon, and their elemental typing, give my predictions for their kit, and analyze what each element needs to have an interesting and OP brand new character added into their meta. Well, probably they're not all going to be OP, but you know what I mean. We're also going to go through a little history because we're coming to the end of the version and that might mean something. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we've built and tested every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. So starting off with that history, that we are coming to the very end of the version. This could be the last patch that we actually get new characters, because lately the very last patch has been a full rerun patch, and because we're getting 3 brand new characters, it kind of feels to me like this could be that situation again. Hard to say. If we take a more meta approach, it's looking to me like Zenless Zone 0 will release before Natlin, and it would make sense to release it right after Chlorant has dropped, something timeline like that. I'm not sure, but anyways, if we look at the history, the last version has usually included a good character, and I think that that's because Genshin wants to drain your primos before the new region comes. They don't want people to go into the new region with a ton of savings. So at the end of version 1.x, they released Kazuha. At the end of version 2.x, they released Yelan, and people always try and cope and say that these characters are mid and that they're skips, but then they end up being great, and the same even was true for Baiju in version 3.x. However, we also know that Hoyoverse hates patterns. They seem to go out of their way to make patterns not happen, such as not rerunning Farina for version 4.6, which we all expected, but Farina definitely will be rerun in version 4.7, probably. I mean. But it'll be interesting because we do have the 2 5-star characters. I definitely expect one of these to be really, really OP. We'll talk about which one I think it's going to be. So starting off with Chlorant, this is by far the sword right there. Never lost a duel. I mean, okay, I made a video for it, but I kind of don't think that that's going to happen. Like I said, full team-wide off-field healer. I think this is by far the most likely, just at a quick glance, but we will, let's go through everything as well. Yeah, we've got lots of on-field DPSs. Hydro, buffer. So like, think of Shenhe, Faruzan, etc. I feel like they've been leaning more towards the 4-star buffers, but it's definitely possible that they do put it on her. It would be interesting as well if she was a Hydro hyper buffer, but like the thing is, who would she buff? She would buff Ayato, but Neuvillette already doesn't really want a second Hydro on his team unless it's Farina, and even then it's like you're not getting the full benefit unless you have C1. So I don't see this happening. I don't see it happening. And then we already have on-field DPS or off-field DPS. What other reactions are we not supporting? Crystallize. Oh, freeze support. This I could actually see. Freeze has been worse lately. Now, I doubt that this would happen, but it would be pretty cool to get a character that buffed the Hydro Cryo reaction, because bosses currently can't be affected by Frozen. So I could see Sijween being a character that is a free support. The issue is I would expect that from a Cryo character, not from a Hydro character, but it'd be really good on a Hydro character, because that means the Cryo, because the Cryo team is already kind of full for freeze. You have your DPS, either Ayaka, Ganyu, Risley. You have your ideal freeze support, which is Shenhe, and then you have your Animo, which is Kazuha. So to have a freeze support, it kind of really wants to be the Hydro character. Otherwise, we're kicking out Shenhe and running a Cryo healer or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you don't run a healer and you just run Shenhe anyways. So a freeze support would, I doubt, but it would be sick. Other possibilities are on-field DPS, off-field DPS. I think the full team-wide healer is very free here, and I think it's likely she either does damage and shoots her gun, or she does some buffing on top of healing. I don't see them just making a straight healer. I don't see it happening. I would expect some of these characters to interact with burning, but none of these characters do, so because we just got the burning artifact set. So it seems to me that Sijween should be a full team-wide off-field healer and some kind of damage or some kind of buffing, and Clorand seems to be an off-field
gay healer. She seems cool. Oh my god. Oh, what the fuck? I looked away for 2 seconds and I fucking die. Oh my god.
Sorry, an on-field character. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong in the comments. I know that there's some sussy information out there, but remember how off if you go back and look at the pre-beta information we got from Arlecchino, how off it was. People were predicting spider stuff and all this different stuff, and it was so off. Like, we basically did not get anything close to what she actually ended up being. So even if you think you know what it is, just consider that you might not, and consider that these deep dives into the character and what the element, it's a good chance to think about, you know, where Electro is in the meta, where Hydro is in the meta, what kind of roles
where is Hydro in the meta.
The fact that, and I would like to point out, even though I already commented on
nope. Oh my god. I don't think Hydro needs shit. That's the part where I'm like, where I'm a little bit confused, because I'm like, aren't Hydros already like fucking insanely nuts and have like 20,000 good characters? That's why I'm like, I don't know, man. World consolidation. I wish he was Cryo. Oh well. Final feast, if you're comfortable watching. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay. What is this? No! 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 You're not watching that. What do you mean no? I mean no! Oh, let's see.
Why does Genshin keep making useless features? To start with the Claim Rewards button, you need to open the book, select Commissions, press the button to lead you to the nearest Catherine. But opening the map and pressing the Rewards option does the same thing. Also, the Resin Enhancement ores no one crafts those, or the Wind Catcher. That thing costs 200 resin when you can kidnap the local bard and force him to obey your will. For free mostly, cause you'll become a criminal for kidnapping and stuff. Why does Genshin keep making useless features? If you successfully want to summon Father, don't wish it any place associated with Farina or her mother. Their relationship wasn't the...
Oh my god.
Isn't it funny how Ningguang is a 4-star but 2 of the best 5 stars work for her? We have to mention that Beidou has an entire crew, including the best 5-star support. Even if this is the Alhaitham residency, the wife is always right. And Ito might be the leader of the Arataki gang, but everyone calls Kuki the boss. And even if Jean's in charge of an entire nation, wait, she's actually doing a great job. Isn't it funny how Ningguang 2 weeks ago, I started a Mora farming challenge. Basically, I was gonna do gold ley lines for a month without spending any Mora because Sweet Cheeks here milked me dry. But the challenge had to end today. Why? Cause Lil Poppin here wants cow milk even if there are no cows in Tavit, but I only have 2 bottles left, so I need to buy some. What's she looking at? Oh, Timmy's friend. So I bought 100 bottles. Glad you're happy for ruining my challenge, you little So how much Mora do I have now? Well, 10 million, but it could have been more. 2 weeks ago, I started a I still use the crystal fly trap because it's a genius gadget for mainly 3 things. Obviously, it gives crystal flies, that's what. 2, it reminds me to use the parametric transformer that my minions take care of and 3, this cave. But doesn't this cave defeat the purpose of the crystal fly trap? Well, kinda, but if you also collect the ores to feed into the CFT, you don't need to come here every day. You won't run out of crystal flies, which is one less thing to think about. Yes, I play Genshin on tab. I think this is the place where you can clearly see the difference between a tablet and a PC player. There's no mistaking the 2, you can also see it in the sand animation. But I don't play on PC that much cause I'm not used to the combat system. Like, I tried fighting one of these things and now I'm a little more traumatized and I've no clue what I need to do to remove the graininess when it rains. Yes, I play Genshin. The Sack series is the best weapon series we have. Like giving Sacrificial Fragment to Xingyan makes her a budget C1, and if you have the Gambler set, it's infinite no cooldown skill similar to her C6. Is that a time challenge? LOL, yes it is. No, I'm not gonna make it in time. What shall I do? Now imagine C1 shell with Gambler set and the Sack Polarm that doesn't exist. The Sack series is the If you're wondering how Xiao got us this gift for his birthday, well, here's what he told me. First thing he did was go to his private chef and politely ask for some almond tofu. When the dish was finished, Xiao went to find a weakling to get a dream solvent from. After searching for a while, he remembered that Auntie Nahito adopted one. So he quickly teleported there. He didn't bother with being polite, he just took his pogo stick and beat some sense into this brat.
I was destined.
If you're wondering how Xiao got us this gift for his birthday, well...
Okay, fine. Wind Bloom. 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Hey there, Catherine. Good day, you two. It's nice to see you here at this festive time. So, got any jobs for us? I'm afraid I'd struggle to find you any commissions in the near future. With the arrival of the Windbloom Festival, the only task most Mondstadters are busy with is preparing gifts for their loved ones, but it's customary to do this oneself without assistance. Think of this period as the off-season for the Mondstadt branch of the Adventurers Guild. Spring is here, love is in the air, and everyone wants to relax and enjoy themselves. Even the cats at the tavern next door have been getting lovey-dovey with one another recently.
Ew, gross. You know that feeling you get when you burst out the doors after a nice nap, hoping to make it to the store before the limited edition drinks sell out, only to get there just in time to see the last 2 glasses snatched away right from under your nose by...
You want me to watch this?
Couple of pesky luck to make... Ew, gross. You know that feeling you get when you burst out the doors after a nice nap, hoping to make it to the store before the limited edition drinks sell out, only to get there just in time to see the last 2 glasses snatched away right from under your nose by a couple of pesky lovebirds? That's what this feels like.
Perhaps you two could simply take this chance to... Traveler, Paimon, thank goodness I found you. There's something I need your help with.
Woo, Sucrose? Go ahead, Sucrose. We don't have anything else to do right now anyway.
Phew. Okay, here's the situation. I've been appointed as the Windbloom Festival Special Ambassador by the Knights of Favonius this year. My task is to do good deeds for people during this festival of gratitude and love.
Nice one. So how did they decide who to appoint anyway?
They spawned an empty bottle donated by Angel Share inside a circle with all our names on it. Whoever's name the bottle stopped at got chosen. I think so too, but everyone said that it was to make it fair, so everyone had an equal chance to become a special ambassador. The thing is, I'm not great at dealing with people, so I was really daunted by it at first. But I'm still glad that I got this role. Luckily, I came up with a way to spur myself on, which has helped. Have a look.
Is that a test tube?
Yep, every time I do a good deed for someone, I get them to breathe into a test tube. That way, I can collect everyone's breaths of joy.
Sounds fascinating. Are you gonna use them in your research?
Yes, I believe these breaths of joy will serve as valuable raw materials for our chemical transmutation. With any luck, I'll be able to produce something truly miraculous.
Darn, now Paimon's hungry. Wait, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you?
Actually, I meant something even more exciting than that. I can't say for sure until I have more test results to confirm my hypothesis, though. I'll go
dreams they can't live up to. Anyway, I'm still missing one final breath of joy. Oh, is that all you need help with? That's easy. Just keep Paimon to a streak down, then you'll get your last breath of joy. Hey, come on! Paimon's doing her best to help, okay? So, does it need to be more like official or ceremonious or something? No, joy isn't measured in those terms at all. Well, let me put it this way. Have you ever planted a fruit seed and cared for it while it grows? In the same way that those tender, sweet fruits are the product of your time and effort, the amount of joy derived from an experience is positively correlated to the degree of hardship overcome during it. For example, in my case, I would say that to experience a statistically significant amount of joy, I had to do something like spend 6 months developing a medicine formula to a point where it was finally consistently effective. Similarly, in order to collect a significant amount of joy from other people, I have to find ways to do something sufficiently challenging on their behalf. Oh, Paimon gets it now. Long story short, you want us to help you find people for you to help. Oh, that's pretty tough given that it's the Windbloom Festival and all. Oh, I figured since you're such experienced travelers, you might have some ideas. But if even you don't know how to approach this... Yes, you're right. Well, if he's it, then Paimon will help too. With the tucking, anyway. But, if things don't work out, can Paimon still get that Sleepy Dam? Oh, come on, Traveler. This is a festival of gratitude and love, after all. How could you refuse?
Excuse me, Sucrose. Could I borrow you for a second? Package for you.
Hold on. Hang on. Hang on.
The Windbloom Festival is a festival in Mondstadt celebrating the Thousand Winds. Traditions. During the Windbloom Festival, the people of Mondstadt offer windblooms to Barbados and to those they love and adore. The windblooms may be accompanied by other gifts, such as love poems. While there is a romantic overtone to the Windbloom Festival, windblooms are not gifted exclusively with romantic intent. The Windbloom Festival is also an opportunity to improve any and all relationships that people have.
Okay.
It is important that every person takes matters into their own hands during this period, especially if they are single and looking for love.
Okay.
It is difficult for anyone to find something they can do for someone else, to the point that even the Adventurers Guild has far fewer commissions during this period. Every Windbloom Festival, one person who has truly proven themselves during Windbloom or who has made great sacrifices for Mondstadt is selected as the Windbloom Star to represent the people of Mondstadt and formally offer a Windbloom of their choosing to Barbados during the Windbloom ceremony. However, individuals may informally offer windblooms to Barbados at his large statue throughout the festival. Presently, the Windbloom Festival also includes many fun activities that people can partake in.
Okay.
One of Springvale's customs is that during the Windbloom Festival, young hunters who are looking for love go to Wolvendom to catch foxes and then release the foxes with wreaths of flowers atop the foxes' heads. History. It is unknown when the first Windbloom Festival took place, but the festival's origins are of the time of Decorabian, when those who were planning the rebellion used the Windbloom as their secret code. The Windbloom Flower. The Windbloom flower is not a tangible, extant plant. It existed in the dreams of Decorabian's people as a nameless, floaty flower that thrived in environments with harsh anemo and cryo, possibly including the frozen wasteland of Mondstadt outside of Decorabian's city or at the border of his city.
Okay.
The rebels against Decorabian used Windbloom as a code word, likely because the conditions under which the Windbloom thrived figuratively paralleled the situation of those who planned the rebellion. In particular, windblooms are associated with the Ragenbinder clan and their possible ancestors, dating back to the red-haired warrior who was with Barbados during the rebellion against Decorabian. It is known that the Windbloom was the symbol of the rebellion against Decorabian, but the association with the Ragenbinders may not be as well known. In present day, the true form of the Windbloom flower is a topic of debate. Everyone has a plant they deem their own personal windbloom, and candidates range from the dandelion, popular with many people, to the wolfhook, which may only be a windbloom for Razor and Bennett. The Anemo Arch in Barbados supports the freedom for all individuals to choose their own windblooms and does not name any particular flower as the windbloom, even going as far as to say that windblooms are simultaneously everywhere and non-existent.
Aww.
Opinions about the true form of the Windbloom flower often align with opinions about what the Windbloom Festival should celebrate. The most popular school of thought is that of the Dandelionites, who believe that the Windbloom is a dandelion and the Windbloom Festival is a festival for lovers. The second most popular school of thought is that of the Asterists, who believe that the Windbloom is a windwheel aster and the Windbloom Festival should be a time to remember the liberation of Old Mondstadt from Decorabian's rule. The full list of Windbloom candidates during Invitation of Windbloom is as follows. Dandelion, Windwheel Aster, Cecilia, Sweet Flower, Small Lamp Grass, Wolfhook. Despite the lack of consensus on what flower, or plant, the Windbloom actually is, it is the symbol of the Windbloom Festival and represents concepts such as freedom and love.
Okay, cool. So then what's this? Oh my god. Holy. Oh my goodness. I just wish it, okay. I just wish it wasn't 2 hours. I am down to engage with it, but is there some quicker, shorter anything? Like, is there like a 30-minute, 40-minute explanation summary somewhere? Like, I'm down with that, but 2 hours and 40 minutes? Oh, let's see. Timestamps. Oh, story. There it is. Where's the story? There it is. Okay, cool. Here it is. Okay.
Summary. Part 1, Ode to Flower and Cloud. Main article, Ode to Flower and Cloud. The traveler and Paimon travel to Mondstadt and find it decorated for the Windbloom Festival. Looking around for some work to do, the two find themselves rejected at every turn until they talk to Flora and entangle themselves in a debate between her, Quinn, and Beatrice about the true Windbloom flower. The traveler and Paimon decide to take in more of the festival and find Venti, who's holding a class on writing love poems. He informs them that the festival is for those looking for love, and that not giving or taking commissions is a custom of the festival.
Okay.
However, he ropes the two into assisting him.
Okay.
Part 2, Missive of Cloud and Fog. Main article, Missive of Cloud and Fog. After arriving at the Knights of Favonius headquarters, the traveler and Paimon meet with Kea and Venti in Jean's office to discuss Kea's homework. Kea asks the traveler and Paimon to help his drinking buddy Nimrod with relationship advice at Angel's Share.
Okay.
After the traveler and Paimon return to the Knights of Favonius headquarters, Kea has completed his homework and it says, I love you, in Hiltrilian. Kea asks them to deliver a letter to the Favonius Cathedral. Outside the cathedral, the traveler and Paimon meet Jean and Lisa as they are patrolling the festival. After entering, they meet Bennett and a flustered Barbara, who received a saying that the thing most precious to them has been buried.
What in the world is happening? What is this?
After entering, they meet Bennett and a flustered Barbara, who received a saying that the thing most precious to them has been buried. As Barbara is worried that Jean has been buried, Rosaria calms her down and points them to Dawn Winery. After reaching the location, a few treasure hoarders are around the treasure, which was a Windwheel Aster wreath from the Barbara fan club. Part 3, Realm of Fog and Wind. Main article, Realm of Fog and Wind. The traveler and Paimon meet with Venti at the alchemy store to discuss with Timaeus about his poetry homework. Timaeus confesses he was unable to start it, because Sucrose had tasked him with helping her decipher an ancient alchemical recipe for what she claims is a windbloom. She arrives to check on him, to find that neither of them had made any progress. The traveler suggests consulting Albedo on the matter, who is currently stationed at the camp at the foot of Dragonspine. At Sucrose's request, the traveler, Paimon and Venti pay a visit to Albedo to have him inspect the recipe. He expresses doubt about its product being a windbloom, but says he can only be certain once it is crafted.
Okay.
He asks the group to go fetch the ingredients, after which he gets to work at his alchemy table. The alchemical, windbloom, is revealed to be a giant variant of sweet flower that once existed in antiquity, a tetratanic sweet flower according to Sucrose, which she enthusiastically accepts
Oh,
as
thank
her
you, the bottle, by the
windbloom.
way. It's so sweet.
After she heads off to gather some nutrients for her flower, Venti questions Timaeus about his homework once again, which he has just completed. Paimon notices that Bennett hasn't returned yet, so the group visits Barbara at the cathedral to ask her about his whereabouts. Barbara, apprehensive, announces that he had gone missing. Rosaria appears, informing them that he had run off to the Thousand Winds Temple. There, the Traveler and co. encounter a ruin guard patrolling the area. After defeating it, Bennett and Razor are rescued from a prison cell that was triggered by a special mechanism.
What in the
Paimon
fuck? What is this fan fiction? What are we talking about? What happened? I'm sorry, this whole thing? What? This is so funny to me.
Paimon notices that Bennett hasn't returned yet, so the group visits Barbara at the cathedral to ask her about his whereabouts. Barbara, apprehensive, announces that he had gone missing.
Okay.
Rosaria appears, informing them that he had run off to the Thousand Winds Temple.
Okay.
There, the Traveler and co. encounter a ruin guard patrolling the area. After defeating it, Bennett and Razor are rescued from a prison cell that was triggered by a special mechanism.
Okay.
Paimon informs Bennett of the situation with Barbara the other day, and he
Right.
and Razor explain how they both ended up at the temple. Venti then receives the final poem from Bennett, which he had written with Razor's assistance. Bennett departs with Razor to go exploring, while the Traveler, Paimon and Venti head to Angel's Share to celebrate the collection of all the poems. At the tavern, the three are greeted by Kea and Diluc, who is bartending in Charles's place. Kea relays the news he had received from Jean that the Traveler had been chosen as this year's Windbloom Star for their efforts during the Windbloom Festival period. He adds that the Traveler must attend the Windbloom ceremony with Jean, where the Windbloom Star will make a Windbloom offering to the Anemo Archon on behalf of the people of Mondstadt. Rosaria is also present, and Kea recounts his encounter with her by the Knights of Favonius headquarters. Venti receives Kea's tuition fee from Diluc, and the tavern celebrates the festival night with a toast. Part 4, Dream of Wind and Flowers. Main article, Dream. The Traveler and
Is this where I
Paimon meet
stop?
with Jean.
Is this where I stop? This is the wrong event. This is the first Windbloom. So why? So you want me to watch the second Windbloom? Wouldn't I have not have had context? It's like Lantern, right? Oh, okay. They're not continuous. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So certainly a lot of playable characters in this. Holy. Okay, let's see. Okay, I see what's going on here. Okay then, how's about this? Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my. Okay. Okay. Here's part one. Let's see. Here's part one. All right. Let's see. Okay. Whew. Hmm.
Oh, sure. Be right back. boxes. You were staring into space just now. Something the matter? No, don't worry. I'm fine. I was just looking at a Mondstadt children's book in the souvenir shop over there. While I was flipping through it, a piece of paper fell out. The writing on it was really mysterious, almost like a prophecy. If you can do these things, you may light the lantern of utmost joy and receive a supreme blessing. And what does these things refer to? Find a flower that is not of this world. Find a guide who will never get lost. Find one who would never lie. Find a legend that never ends. So, 4 things in total. Here, have a look. I asked the lady who owns the store about it, but she said that she didn't know anything about any paper slips. Hi there. Sorry to butt in, but what's the name of that storybook you just mentioned? Oh, it was called The Boar Princess. That is strange. I've read that book, and it sounds like that note you found has no relation to the story at all. Do you know her? Let Paimon do the honors. Holly, this is Sucrose, an alchemist with the Knights of Favonius. And Sucrose, meet Kale. She's a trainee forest ranger from Sumeru's Avidia Forest. Hello. Hi. This is getting awkward fast. You're both so shy. So, Sucrose, what are your thoughts on this prophecy? Could it be real? Without having done any research, I couldn't comment definitively. But if you want my subjective opinion, I don't think that it's a nasty prank or anything. The only people who read children's books are those with a childlike wonder and imagination. Or children, of course. I'm sure that whoever put this prophecy there would understand that. But they really do this just to spread lies and ruin someone's innocence? I can't imagine anyone being so cruel. That's a great take. I love it. Exactly. Who would want to hurt a child's feelings? Okay, so what do you think the blessing is, Sucrose? If I had to guess, maybe a fairy that can make people's wishes come true or something? I haven't read many fairy tales, so this is pure speculation, with no other information on hand or prior research to compare against. I'm afraid it might not even be worth considering. Wow! Her guesswork is really good, though. I want to pick her brain some more. But will she find it annoying if I keep asking her questions? We've only just met after all. What's the best thing to say to someone you're meeting for the first time? Well, yes, I mean, if possible. Then, what would you wish for, Kale? I'd wish for a better personality. Huh? You can't waste it on that! You've got a great personality already! That's very kind of you. But if you know me like I do... Kale! I know that voice! It's...
Kale! You made good time, huh? Way earlier than I expected. I spotted your green hair way off in the distance. Good thing my eyes are sharp, or I'd have missed you.
Amber, have you been doing well? Did you finish all the pita pockets I brought you last time?
You bet. They're getting yummier each time you make them.
Huh? Wait, remind Paimon, have you been to Mondstadt before? A long time ago, I had a lot of help from a lot of people here in Mondstadt. So ever since my Alizard got better, I've been looking out for an opportunity to come back to Mondstadt and tell them all the news that I've been cured. Thanks.
If it's okay with everyone, why don't I take Kale for a walk around town? I'd like to show her some of the places she didn't get to see last time.
Of course, fine by me. Sure, go right ahead. Sorry, Amber. I agreed to meet my traveling companions by the city gate in a few minutes, so I can't go with you just yet.
Oh, that's all right. In that case, you guys go rest up, and I'll go see Master Jean to ask for some time off.
Oh, okay.
Traveler Sucrose, could you look after Kale for now? I'll come get her later and take her out. There's still a whole bunch of people I need to introduce her to.
Sure, no problem.
Awesome. See you later then.
You alright there, Kale? You look kinda disappointed. I'm sorry. I'm just feeling a little shy today. Don't worry about me. Amber wants to introduce me to more of her friends. Am I gonna be able to cope? I've only had Sucrose so far. I'm already struggling to make conversation. I wish I had a little more self-confidence. Then I'd find it much easier to make friends with people. It's nearly time! Let's go to the gate and see if they've arrived.
Why is this humble windmill such a great view? I mean, mean, it's understandable. It must have been a long time since you last came to Mondstadt.
Because it is the true Great Vayu Viastra? Oh, come on. Don't tell me you don't get it. View, Vayu, and also Mahamatra, Vayu Viastra? No?
Kainari, Sino, over here!
Whew, am I glad to see you. And who's this young lady?
Master, this is Sucrose, an alchemist with the Knights of Favonius. We just met. Sucrose, this is my teacher Tainari. He's a highly respected forest watcher in Sumeru, and he's also a very famous botanist.
Kale's exaggerating. I'm Tainari. Pleased to meet you.
So you have a teacher as well. The pleasure is all mine, Tainari, sir. Yep, he's extremely knowledgeable too. And this is General Mahamatra Sino of the Sumeru Academia. He's really famous in Sumeru as well.
Greetings. Though if I might say so, we're purely here for personal reasons. You needn't be unduly concerned with our official positions. And Kale, there's no need to use my full title. Sino is fine. Or sir, if you absolutely must.
Indeed. We're not here in an official capacity, just to keep Kale company on her vacation.
Keep me company? But it was you two that insisted on coming.
Kale is very important to us. We felt obliged to ensure her safety on the long, treacherous journey to Mondstadt.
But I've been here on my own loads of times before. What about your work, though? What if something bad happens while the General Mahamatra's away?
There should be no issues. I have left my duties in the hands of my subordinates, and 2 especially reliable helpers.
Oh, Sucrose, what were you saying about you having a teacher as well? I was just going to mention that I think we're in a somewhat similar situation. I'm an assistant to Mr. Albedo, Mondstadt's genius alchemist.
Oh, please, Sucrose. Genius is an unnecessary epithet. It will serve only to leave an exaggerated impression of me in the minds of our guests.
Mr. Albedo, but it is an objective truth. Hey, Albedo's here too! Great! The more the merrier!
So tell me, Sucrose, since your specialty is bioalchemy, what do you know about the antitoxic properties of the calla lily?
Wait! Can we hold off on the nerdy topic for now? Paimon doesn't want to be left out! Oh, as it happens, I've studied the calla lily in quite some detail before, with it being a species native to Mondstadt. I wrote a whole report on my findings. If you're interested, Mr. Tainari, sir, I can go get it for you.
We're supposed to be here on vacation, and you're already thinking about how to improve your herbal medicines? Also, I thought we'd agreed to take on new identities for this trip.
What new identities?
Mine was Adventurer Sino, skilled desert explorer. Tainari's was technological consultant to the treasure hoarders, and Kale's was traveling musician. Very much so.
I do wish some of the less cautious adventurers in the Avidya forest would consider coming to Mondstadt instead. What Philanimo mushrooms lack in texture, they make up for in not causing vomiting or diarrhea.
Are you contemplating using some compounds from the calla lily as active ingredients in a targeted antidote?
Yes, I gathered a few on the way here, and my initial research suggests to me that it could be worth a try.
Okay.
What? Okay, whatever.
I got it. But as much as I don't wish to be a wet blanket, it takes a huge amount of experimental data to conclusively prove how different drugs interact.
Oh my god. Woo!
Are you contemplating using some compounds from the calla lily as active ingredients in a targeted antidote?
Oh my god.
Yes, I gathered a few on the way here, and my initial research suggests to me that it could be worth a try.
Okay, I got it. But as much as I don't wish to be a wet blanket, it takes a huge amount of experimental data to conclusively prove how different drugs interact. Estimating the total development time would be very difficult. Adding the time for procurement and delivery of essential materials, and I'm not sure if we could complete development before you need to return.
Oh my god.
Then please, allow me to help.
Mr. Albedo.
Apologies for my tardy entrance in the present discussion. I understand you're looking to make an antidote for poisonous fungi, correct? If you happen to have some samples with you, or relevant documentation on hand, perhaps you might give me the chance to review them later. But before that, I invite the 3 of you to look at this.
Food and lodging arrangements? Were you quietly writing this up the whole time? I didn't even notice.
Hardly. Rather, I should apologize for interrupting a serious discussion between trained professionals, especially after they've traveled so far to be here, when I myself am neither an adventurer, nor a technological consultant, nor a musician. Nevertheless, I would encourage you to have a knowledgeable local arrange your detailed itinerary while you're in Mondstadt. Take a look, and should you find anything here to be objectionable, it can easily be adjusted.
This is too kind of you. These arrangements are quite excellent.
It looks great! Even Paimon feels like tagging along for the food and board.
Holy! Oh my god. It does sound like AI. That's so funny. It literally sounds like AI.
Oh, mushrooms lack in texture. They make up for in not causing vomiting or diarrhea.
Are you contemplating using some compounds from the calla lily as active ingredients in a targeted antidote?
This is so funny to me.
I gathered a few on the way here. And my
To make an antidote for...
Have you writing this up the whole time? Paimon didn't even notice.
Hardly. Rather, I should apologize for interrupting a serious discussion between trained professionals, especially after they've traveled so far to be here, when I myself am neither an adventurer, nor a technological consultant, nor a musician. Nevertheless, I would encourage you to have a knowledgeable local arrange your detailed itinerary while you're in Mondstadt. Take a look, and should you find anything here to be objectionable, it can easily be adjusted.
This is too kind of you. These arrangements are quite excellent.
It looks great. Even Paimon feels like tagging along for the food and board. Wait, doesn't Paimon's opinion matter anymore? Paimon's technically a guest in Mondstadt too, you know.
Very comprehensive. The adventurer, technological consultant, and musician will approve. Thank you.
Just one thing. We'd like the chance to cook as well. Why don't we change the group dinner to a camping and cooking trip?
I'll help pitch the tents. I can help too.
And Paimon will take Him to Good Hunter to order some starters. Mondstadt's cold cut platter is not to be missed.
Great, then it's decided. Sucrose and I will bring the three of you to your inn for a quick rest. You two, let's meet by the lake this evening.
Hey, Sarah, can we have a cold cut platter to go?
Sure, coming right up. Would you like anything else?
Do we, want anything else? Yay! So you do remember after all! You're just the best! Paimon will give you the sweet flower from that sweet madame as a wind bloom. No need to worry about that! Paimon can make room for good food.
All right, just a moment.
Whoa, that was great. If that was a wind bloom treat, then Paimon wishes it could be the Wind Bloom Festival every day.
All right, looks like we're all here.
Not at all. We just came early to set everything up, since we happen to be free today. Holly put up the tent so quickly, but still managed to tie very sturdy knots. You can really tell that she's a professional. I didn't do much apart from passing materials around.
Thanks. It's all thanks to Master and Sino. They taught me everything I know.
What can I say? For a skilled adventurer, this is just another day on the job.
Are you quite finished? Or were you going to sing each other's praises till the moon rises? Come on, let's all sit down.
These nerds about to play
That
D&D.
sunshine sprat was really very good. I didn't watch you cook it, but I believe that the prominent umami flavor...
Oh my god. Is this academic club meeting? Like, oh my god. Help!
The dish owes itself to more than the fish alone.
That's correct. Any further deductions?
Let me think. The aroma was quite uniform. Unlike that of a spice blend, it was also unfamiliar to me. So I would venture that it was a Mondstadt specialty. As far as edible Mondstadt plant species are concerned, calla lilies are usually used in soups. So if I had to guess... Small lampgrass?
That's right. I've long heard that Sumeru's fish with cream sauce is noted for its gentle texture, which brings out the tenderness of the fish.
Oh my god.
Here in Mondstadt, we're not quite as varied in the use of spices as in Sumeru, but the principle of bringing certain distinct flavors to the forefront through combinations of natural ingredients is very much the same.
I like it a lot. I'm curious as to the exact ratio of ingredients.
I'll write a copy of the recipe for you.
I'm curious to the exact ratio of the ingredients. You know, I date, like, this sort of speaking, I date that. Like, according to my calculations, I like to speculate that every time, but it's just like,
Would anyone like to try the nutrient-dense meal I made?
I'll have some.
What about you, Kale? It doesn't look like you've eaten very much.
Yeah.
Is your appetite low at the moment?
No. I just don't eat a lot normally.
Birds of a feather. Shut up!
I didn't mean to make things awkward.
Inari, while we were on the road, we spotted something white, walking on two legs. Was that Paimon?
Which day was this?
Just after passing through Stonegate.
Sino, are you sure your eyes were working that day? Or maybe your hood was blocking your vision? Paimon always flies. There's no way she'd ever walk.
Is that right? I thought that you'd made me snack on too many local ground nuts.
Uh-huh.
No, not funny. Ground, you know, as in ground up, but also the ground. Ground nuts make you fall to the ground.
Think of this as part of the process of getting to know Sino. On the bright side, these jokes show that he thinks of you as his friends.
Still, we could test the hypothesis.
What hypothesis?
That plant species indigenous to Mondstadt may have an effect on the motor functions of flying lifeforms.
Oh my fucking...
Hey! Paimon's not your test subject! Anyway, by your logic, wouldn't that mean that eating, say, Saitun peaches, that would make a sick Paimon peachy in no time or something? Hey! Not you two!
I think the Traveler and Paimon
Aeron's conversations are more entertaining than Sino's jokes.
Ah, I see. You must have been keeping quiet about this grievance for quite some time now.
You seem much cheerier now that you're here in Mondstadt, Sino. Actually, feels like you're a completely different person.
That's because I'm Sino the Adventurer. Hmm? It's not?
In fairness, you only saw him in his work mode while you were in Sumeru. He's actually like this most of the time when he's in a good mood.
Yep, it's true. Sometimes when he's eating, he'll grumble about how the bowl is too shallow for the amount of food it contains and other random stuff like that.
I understand. Then allow me to reintroduce myself. Before, you knew me as General Mahamatra Sino. Now, please see me as Sino the Adventurer.
Yeah, so that's another thing he does. He'll keep repeating something he thinks is funny until you stop trying to resist.
So you have two different mental states? Almost like different phases of matter. Interesting.
Oh
I want to learn to do that too.
I think in your case, the two states.
Oh my god! Scott! Why do your favorite characters all have to be the fucking, like... Oh my god, go to the science fair. Holy, oh my god. Ace the Windbloom event. Ace the Windbloom event. Oh my god. And it's just the fucking Nobel Peace Prize contenders. Holy shit. Talking about the fucking science of quantum physics. This fucking Mondstadt. Fuck.
States we would end up with would be highly conscientious sucrose and simplified sucrose. Oh, by the way, was there any reason in particular that you chose Mondstadt as your destination on this occasion?
Oh, well, Nisa once told me that the Windbloom Festival is one of Mondstadt's biggest events of the year. I wanted to take this opportunity to give everyone a Windbloom as a token of my heartfelt gratitude for everything they've done to look after me.
Plus, it was a good chance for Kale to get out and meet some new people.
Kale Lily.
What?
Kale's Windbloom. Maybe she should call it a Kale Lily. It sounds very Mondstadt. There's also cauliflower, which would technically make more sense, but somehow it doesn't sound as nice.
Moving swiftly on.
Wow, he just completely ignored the joke and carried on the conversation. Guess sometimes that's the only way forward.
Sumeru's been through some major changes recently, and things at work have only just started to calm down. I don't get many opportunities to take a vacation, and this was a chance to join Kale on her trip while also learning a few things about Mondstadt's flora and fauna that I'll be able to pass on to my peers and students on my return. 2 birds with 1 stone.
How about you, Sino?
I came to ensure Kale's safety.
That's just an excuse. Plain and simple.
Also, there's the matter of a Genius Invocation TCG custom-made card back.
Oh my fucking god.
Aha! So you did have an ulterior motive.
Have you all played Genius Invocation TCG before? And that is why I am proud to call you my friend. When I first began contemplating getting a new card back, I asked around before eventually deciding to ask the legendary Mr. Kaltz for guidance. A friend of mine, Sawada, whom I played cards with on occasion, had been to Inazuma for the Irodori festival. He told me that Kaltz was a Mondstadter, so I should try my luck there.
Kaltz? Isn't that...
You mean, he's a friend of yours?
I see. So, you came to Mondstadt in search of Kaltz.
No, that is inaccurate. I came here principally to protect Kale.
You most certainly did not. Kale's been here on the quiet numerous times, and this is the first time you felt the need to join.
Not only me, same applies to you too, doesn't it?
If my writer friend were here now, I'm sure he would describe this curious coincidence as having the makings of a good story. It's always a pleasure to meet a fan.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh boy.
Wait, you mean you're Mr. Kaltz?
Having my new friends address me by my pen name feels somewhat unusual. Please, just call me Albedo.
Huh. So you're Kaltz. Sino's been talking about you non-stop recently.
Yes, God, I know. I can tell.
Card back for him.
You didn't have to say all that.
I don't usually take private commissions, but I believe that we are friends now, all of us. Our conversations have been deep and interesting, and Sino, your passion for this game is indeed one of a kind. I can see it in your eyes.
Obviously.
And given that you've come all this way from Sumeru to see me, I'd be quite honored to take this commission.
Wow, your teacher's so nice. I feel the same about yours. Well, they definitely have different personalities, but they're similar when it comes to their character.
So, how much should I budget for the timeless masterpiece you will produce for me?
Surely timeless masterpiece is something of an overstatement.
Any artwork fit to appear on the reverse of my card decks is by definition a timeless masterpiece, even if I do say so myself.
Don't mind him. These TCG nutjobs are all like this.
I see. So, this has an almost religious significance. Well, for starters, I'd like to hear a few more of your jokes.
My jokes? You like them?
I do.
Really? I didn't see you laughing.
Well, the joke's ability to induce laughter is a separate matter, but I certainly find them fun.
If I might interrupt, does anyone else smell something strange?
Oh my god. What is happening? What is this? Oh, they're all just dweebs. Oh my god.
My nutritional meal.
My nutritional meat.
Okay, should we go over and take a look too?
I'd be grateful if you could check on Sucrose. As for our new friends here, leave them to me.
Huh. So, a good joke is not necessarily required to make people laugh at them.
Well, Albedo and Sucrose were delightful, but this was still an exhausting meal.
The cooking pot. Is everything okay? Only the base is burned. We can still use the cooking pot. It just needs a bit of a wash. Good thing Kainari's nose is so sharp. Has he been in this kind of situation a lot before? I know, it's just... I'm sorry to disappoint Sino. I guess we'll have to do this again another day. Oh, yes. I'm not sure if you've noticed. Kali seemed a little depressed. I noticed she was in a low mood when everyone was talking. Remember that note she received? I was just thinking, I want to try solving this riddle and giving Kali the chance to accept the blessing. Oh yeah! She's the one who needs your help! Exactly. Maybe she'll be willing to breathe into my test tube. But anyway, that can wait. As much as I'd like to make progress in my research, I'd prefer to see her smile. Alright, we'll help out too! You will? Then tell me, honestly, do you think that this prophecy is for real too?
Why didn't I just do Albedo's story quest instead of this? Oh, because I would have had to not farm. I see. Okay.
Uh-huh. Right! Alright, let's meet at the alchemy crafting bench in the city. I've got some thinking to do in the meantime. We're back.
Oh, what a shame. You just missed a joke about windmills.
Stop, please. I don't need to hear it a 5th time.
That bad, huh? Well, now Paimon really wants to hear it for some reason.
Didn't you say you want to see the Dragon of the East at some point? When are you going?
Tomorrow morning. And you? What are your plans?
I'll go into the mountains to have a stroll and collect a few plants as samples.
Or perhaps I could join you? I'll be looking for inspiration for these card back illustrations.
Found you! I knew I was onto something as soon as I saw the fire. Wow, you have really sharp eyes.
That's an outrider for you.
Uh-oh. Did we break the fire safety rules or something?
Actually, you didn't. Strictly speaking, you should have reported your plans first. But since 2 of our very own alchemists are here, I'm happy to look the other way. Ah, yes, introductions. I'm Amber, and this is the Reconnaissance Company Captain Eula, a good friend of mine.
Good evening. You are friends of Kale, yes? A pleasure to meet you.
Oh, Amber and Eula. The pleasure is ours. I've heard a lot about both of you from Kale.
Oh, really? All positive, I hope.
You asked that last time, too. Of course it was positive.
I'd say. We hear the latest news about you every time you write to Kale.
Glad to know we've made a good impression so far. Anyway, we're just here to collect Kale, so don't let us interrupt your chat. Come on, Kale. We're gonna take you to check out a few scenic spots.
Okay, great.
Still as high energy as always.
You know Amber?
Yes, we've met. She's Kale's most important friend. And for that, we are also very grateful to her.
That's Amber for you. Her outgoing personality means she can make friends with just about anybody.
Oh, I'm hungry too. Don't worry.
It's getting late, and we still have a lot lined up tomorrow. I suggest we all head back and get some rest.
All right, I'll start packing up.
You're gonna get the tone deaf bard to check out that note, aren't you? Guess Paimon knows you pretty well, huh? Knowing him, he should be hitting the taverns around this time. We can go corner him and make him answer our questions. Let's move!
Oh, it's been a while.
Paimon target, tone deaf bard, drinking as usual. Put your drink down and get your game face on. We've got some important questions for you, mister.
Okay.
So, what do you make of it?
Aren't you forgetting something? It's the Windbloom Festival right now. You can't just go around asking people for help so blatantly.
Well, if you won't tell us the answer, could you at least tell us if this thing's worth a shot?
Sounds to me like you want a hint or two. A fine answer. The person who wrote this prophecy is very powerful. If you manage to solve the riddle, good things are sure to happen. Also, I happen to know where this lantern is. Once you've found the 4 things, I'll even write the location down for you. Isn't that generous of me?
Whatever. We weren't expecting much from you anyway. You can get back to guzzling wine and blowing wind now.
Oh, well.
I hate / love this Baguette character. Like, this Baguette character is just so funny to me. Like, it's just baguettes. It's like Italy. It's just anytime I see Venti, it's Italy. It's just like,
It was me. Paimon sees me as nothing more than a drunken bistro. There are actually a great many things that we bards are required to do. It just happens that enjoying life is the most important one. Once this is over, would you like to join me for a drink? You know, a favor for a favor. Or given the way that you're staring at me, perhaps you'd like to get me that drink now? I, of course, would be most amenable to that. But I believe you have friends waiting for you. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of time during the festival. A flower that is not of this world. Not of this world.
Sucrose! We've got some good news and some bad news. Which would you like to hear first?
Let's have the bad news first, I guess.
Huh? Really? Don't most people usually want to hear the good stuff first? Oh, alright then. Basically, we went to Windrise to divine the breeze. The wind said that the prophecy is real and that your idea is a really good one.
That doesn't sound like bad news. So what's the real bad news then?
Paimon ate the bad news! Blame Sino. If it's not funny, then it's his fault.
It's fine. Well, that puts my mind at rest. Now, back to the other issue I've been mulling over. I was thinking about the flower that is not of this world. It could mean a human-cultivated variety that doesn't occur in nature. But that's basically claiming that it doesn't come from this world in the first place, when actually it's just a variant of an existing breed. So, the initial question is, can the flower's origins be traced back to a natural organism? If so, it cannot be correctly described as not of this world. But then, supposing we identified something outside of that category, whose job would it be to decide whether it belongs in this world or not? Then the question becomes, do of this world and from this world mean the same thing? Or is it deeper than that?
Whoa, slow down! Paimon's head is already starting to spin!
Okay, I did have one other line of thought as well. What about a flower created using alchemy? Would that be not of this world? Albedo may know the answer, but asking him right away would be like asking the teacher for the answers to your exam paper. It would render our search for the truth meaningless. I'd rather try and figure this out for myself.
Could it be the Windbloom?
Oh, now that you mention it, that's definitely a possibility. The Windbloom doesn't refer to a specific flower. Everyone defines what it means for themselves. In which case, the Windbloom doesn't exist in reality. This does seem like a promising direction. I've made a note. Okay, I better go re-up on this.
Yay! Paimon was actually useful this time! Guess we have that sweet Medanta bank, huh?
I'll need some time to prepare. Could we meet up here in, say, 2 days' time?
Sure thing! In the meantime, we'll also think about the other 3 riddles in the prophecy. But, since we're really going for this now, shouldn't we say something to Kali about it?
I originally wanted to leave it as a surprise for her, and I also didn't want to get her hopes up over nothing. But you're right, Paimon. I'll need to be careful how I word it, but I'll try to find some time over the next couple days to mention it to her. All right, thanks so much.
Oh boy, that was part 1? That's enough. Alright. That was one part. Oh my god. Gami guide. Genshin. I can't. I need a break. 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 We'll come back to it. I promise you we'll come back to it. Well, definitely not juice.
Hey everyone, it's Sevi. Wushu Dancer, Gaming, and Little Mantai are here to dazzle and set enemies ablaze with his plunging attack focus playstyle. You might be here after pulling him on Xianyun's banner or after getting him from the free 4-star selector, so to help you maximize his kit, this video will cover his talents, constellations, best artifact and weapon builds, and team comps. Let's get started.
I'll start my warm-up routine.
Gaming's normal, charged, and plunging claymore attacks are inherently physical damage, so his innate elemental damage comes more from his skill and burst. However, these can be given an elemental infusion, particularly with C6 Bennett, which we'll cover later on. Moving on.
Also, yes, the event was cute. I actually thought with how much you advertise it, I thought it was some giant lore thing that was really important to the plot. Like, I was expecting something like, I don't know, Conria or something, but I guess this is fine too.
Casting Gaming's skill makes him pounce towards an enemy, and if you hit one, he steps on them to leap higher, which allows him to do a pyro plunging attack right after. Upon landing, he will consume 15% of his max HP, and with his Ascension 1 passive, he also rapidly regains a total of 6% HP over 4 ticks. Thanks to the self-HP draining and healing mechanics, he can innately trigger equipment or ability effects that rely on HP manipulation. With the Ascension 4 passive unlocked, Gaming gets a 20% incoming healing bonus if he's below half HP, but if he has half or more HP, his skill's plunging attack gets a 20% damage bonus. To maximize his damage, you want to keep him at high HP consistently. His skill's plunge also has no ICD, which basically means it can apply pyro and trigger an elemental reaction with each plunge. This will be very important for his reaction-based teams. His skill will also repeatedly generate pyro particles, which he'll need to battery himself. Moving on, casting Gaming's Burst first heals 30% of his HP and briefly applies pyro to himself, which can mainly help cleanse unwanted elemental auras. He also summons Mantai for 12 seconds, which has a very important purpose. Mantai initially deals huge AoE pyro damage, then goes back to Gaming, and upon its return, Gaming resets his skill cooldown. After Gaming either pounces or successfully does his skill's plunging attack again with more than 50% HP, Mantai gets resummoned to reset his skill cooldown again. By repeating this mechanic, he can plunge repeatedly until his burst state ends. That's why it's also important to keep him at high enough HP. All in all, it's a simple gameplay loop which mainly focuses on having his burst active while spamming his skill. In between his skill cooldowns, he can use his claymore attacks while waiting for the skill reset and to drive his teammates' abilities like Xingqiu or Yelan's bursts. Even with constellations, his gameplay will be essentially similar. For his utility passive, he gives your party a 10% movement increase during the daytime, though note that it doesn't work in certain areas. All of his talents contribute to his damage, but his skill has the highest priority as he'll be spamming that during his on-field time. Then his Ascension materials include the Emperor of Fire and Iron boss drop, the Star Conch Leo specialty, and slime drops. His talent materials use the Prosperity book series from the Lyra talent domain, slime drops, and the Lightless Mass from the font.
Do you know how many of those fucking things I need? Did you know that I need over fucking 117 of those stupid prosperity books because Yelan needs them, and Gaming needs them, and Zhao needs them, and Keqing needs them? Do you know how many of those I fucking need? Holy. Holy. Oh my goodness.
Fontaine Weekly boss. At C0, Gaming already has cohesive gameplay and is surprisingly strong for a 4-star, but let's see what his constellations add. C1 makes Now that we're familiar with Gaming's kit, let's move on to his build, starting with artifacts. For his sands, it's either EM or attack. EM is generally better in his vaporize/melt teams, but it can still depend on the external EM or attack buffs he's getting, such as having Sucrose on the team or using an EM weapon. Of course, if on a monopyro team with no reactions, then it should strictly be attack. His goblet will generally want pyro damage, but attack can still be good, especially if you have a lot of damage percent bonuses already, like with Farina. Then the circlet will want crit rate or crit damage, whichever gives him a good crit ratio. For substats, get enough energy recharge to burst every rotation, then you're looking for crit, EM, and attack. An alternative build is going full elemental mastery on all main stats as a virgin DPS, and he's just looking for ER and EM on his substats. Regarding his energy, Gaming's ER targets can be a bit high. These targets can be lowered by having more Favonius users on the team. Then when he gets to C4, they become significantly more manageable. Either way, be sure to hit these as he wants to burst every rotation. Now for his artifact sets. For an easier and flexible build, you can go for 2-piece combos of Crimson Witch for pyro damage, attack, or EM sets. Choose the pieces that give the right main stats and good substats. Then for full sets, the 4-piece Marechaussee Hunter and Crimson Witch of Flames are his top options. He can naturally consume and heal his own HP, so he easily triggers Marechaussee's 4-piece effect by himself. Though just be careful of overcapping with crit rate if used with a crit rate weapon or if you have a C6. Since he also repeatedly uses his skill, he can stack the Crimson Witch's 4-piece effect. Another good 4-piece alternative is the 4-piece Gilded Dreams for its EM and attack bonuses for a reaction team. The 4-piece Vermilion can also work since he wants to use his burst at the start of his combos, and he can decrease his own HP to stack more attack. But if relying only on his own HP consumption, it can stack a bit slowly since you have to wait for his skill plunging attacks. For a Burgeon build, it's the usual EM focused sets. 4-piece Flowers of Paradise Lost and Gilded Dreams offer high potential, but 2-piece EM set combos with really good substats can provide close to similar
I maybe want to try Gilded Dreams on him
Moving
again.
on to his weapon options, he's got a lot of great 3 to 5-star options. Starting with the completely free-to-play weapons, the Tidal Shadow is the best craftable option, although that requires billets, so the Mailed Flower and Melusine Claymores with max refinements can be preferable alternatives, but they're limited time rewards only. The Blackcliff Slasher is an option, although it's not as effective in boss fights and not worth the star glitter in my opinion. There's also the Blood Tainted Greatsword as a cheap 3-star option for a Burgeon playstyle. playstyle. Next are gacha or purchasable 4-star options. Between the two Battle Pass claymores, the Serpent Spine is generally the better choice and a competitive option even versus 5 stars. Another competitive but gacha option is the Rain Slasher, specifically in his Vaporized playstyle. The Lithic Blade is also a very good stat stick if used specifically in a Leo focused team. Then for 5-star weapons, it generally falls under being an attack or crit stat stick. Some weapons also don't have synergistic passives unfortunately, since they have specific requirements to activate. As a general tip, just remember to balance his stats and multipliers. For example, if Gaming is already receiving huge attack buffs like from Bennett or base damage buffs like from Xianyun, Gaming will prefer weapons with EM, damage bonuses, or crit rather than attack percent, and vice versa.
Wait, what? Having Bennett or Shenyun base damage buff will make Gaming's favor make. Oh! Okay.
For weapons with
I didn't know
EM
EM was part of that
bonuses or
too.
crit rather than attack percent, and vice versa.
Oh, okay.
Finally, let's go over his possible team templates and synergies. A Vaporized Reaction playstyle will be a staple template since it's easy to execute and outputs very good damage. You're mainly consistently setting up a Hydro Aura on the enemy, so Gaming's plunges can always, or almost always, trigger a Vaporized Reaction. The usual all-field Hydro applicators are Xingqiu, Yelan, and Farina. It can just be one, which is still sufficient application for consistent vaporizes, or a double combination of them for better combined Hydro app and damage. Then the other flex slot will generally be composed of buffers like Bennett or VV equipped Animo units, the usual supports you see in vaporized teams. But again, be mindful about having sufficient healing as well, and for any of his teams, since he wants to stay at high health for Mansai to be continuously resummoned. His healing becomes a net positive at C1 though, so that's one case where he can self-sustain, but of course there can still be other factors involved, like Farina draining his HP and taking a lot of damage from enemies. You'll likely end up comping him with supports that consolidate buffing and healing anyway, like Bennett or our new Animo support Xianyun. She's a healer and plunge attack focus buffer, so she'll naturally have very good synergy with Gaming. While she's not required for Gaming, she's still a big boost for him and now allows him to also plunge outside of his skill. However, even if Gaming plunges with his Claymore attacks, it's still going to be physical damage. But if you have a C6 Bennett who, aside from boosting pyro damage, will then infuse Gaming's Claymore attacks with pyro, he can now alternate his skill and Claymore plunges, potentially triggering Vaporize on most, if not all of them, for a lot more damage. A variation of a Vaporize template is the Overvape or Overload Vaporize team, which introduces an Electro unit like Fischl or Yae to deal damage and apply Electro off-field. Triggering Electro Charge on an enemy allows the Hydro and Electro auras to temporarily coexist, and if Gaming applies Pyro on them, he will proc both Vaporize and Overload.
Oh wow, that's
if you're
cool.
interested in a
Wait, is that how that works? That's Overvape? Ew, wait, what? What? Are those two independent, like, damage calcs? Wait a minute, how come nobody told me about that? That's awesome. What?
This needs...
At the same time? Really? What? Is that not broken? What?
Reliable, consistent cryo application, since the cryo aura is consumed faster by applying a pyro aura. But the trade-off is that melting with pyro has a higher reaction multiplier than vaporizing. Having an Animo infuse their ability with cryo can also help for added cryo application. You'll want to be conscious of timing Gaming's plunges to ensure that they're triggering melt every time. Otherwise, if the pyro aura overtakes the enemy, then your cryo units might be the ones triggering melt instead. On the other hand, mono pyro teams require no reaction management for much easier gameplay. Bennett's a typical teammate for his huge attack buff, and even better if he has C6 to buff pyro damage and infuse Gaming's attacks. And having 3 sources of pyro particles will help bring down your pyro.
What's the reason why people don't want C6 Bennett? Because I hear so many issues about it that to me it kind of just makes me like not even want to think about going for it. But like, I don't know. Like there's so many things that talk about pyro infusion on your normals and how it just makes you better and stuff that I'm like, is that actually a thing that you want to do? You actually want to unlock that and not like run them with like Eula or something? Oh, well then shit. Okay.
Pyro units ER needs. An Animo unit is also highly recommended to VV shred the enemy's pyro resistance, or other synergistic supports can work like Zhongli for his shield that can also reduce elemental resistance as well. A niche variation of this is having a double Animo, double Geo, or an Animo Geo combo for the 2 flex slots. If you have Chevreuse, you can also...
double Animo?
enemy's pyro resistance, or other synergistic supports can work, like Zhongli for his shield that can also reduce elemental resistance as well. A niche variation of this is having a double Animo, double Geo, or an Animo Geo combo for the 2 flex slots. If you have Chevreuse, you can also play Gaming in one of her Pyro Electro only teams, where she'll boost his raw pyro damage via her resistance shred and attack buff. When using Gaming for a Burgeon team, you'll need to have good combined Hydro and Dendro application to consistently generate Dendro cores. His own HP consumption might also make him feel more vulnerable combined with Burgeon's self-damage, so having a capable healer is valuable as well. Enemies have a limit of how many times they can take Burgeon damage at once though. You might end up generating too many cores at once, and some of those Burgeon explosions might just end up getting wasted. If you find yourself generating too many Dendro cores, you can instead add an Electro unit who can also be a Hyper Bloom trigger like Cookie or Yai. This turns the team into a combination of Burgeons and Hyper Blooms, which can further boost its potential for single target and AoE scenarios.
What the hell is Gaming, Singcho, Nahida, Kuki? What?
Find yourself generate cores at once, and some of those
Wait, what?
Having a capable healer is valuable as well. Enemies have a limit of how many times they can take Burgeon damage at once though. You might end up generating too many cores at once, and some of those Burgeon explosions might just end up getting wasted. If you find yourself generating too many Dendro cores, you can instead add an Electro unit who can also be a Hyper Bloom trigger like Cookie or Yai. This turns the team into a combination of Burgeons and Hyper Blooms, which can further boost its potential for single target and AoE scenarios. These are some templates you can try out, but as always, feel free to experiment and find what works for you. And that's going to be it for this Gaming guide. Let me know what you think of him, especially if you've tried gaming with Gaming and...
It sucks. I wanted Farina so bad. Like, Farina's only ran once, correct? And so many people have her. So many people wish for her. And I feel like she's... it sucks. I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, now I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't even know if I should even touch the Gaming team that I have right now. I don't even know if there's anything I can do. I feel like I just gotta sit here in Farina waiting room. I don't. I mean, okay. I mean, I hope she comes to 4.7 because I'm just like, holy. Maybe try the Virgin team. That does look fun. Oh well. Oh well. I mean, it's fine. I guess I can one day. It's fine. Ooh, what's this?
Ever heard of the Hexen Circle? If you hadn't gone through Lisa's voice lines or Barbara's character stories, you probably hadn't heard of them until the 3.5 Windbloom event.
Oh, sorry.
The word itself is German.
Not this, but it's 3.5. Fine. Okay, what about this one? Wait, no. What about this one? What about this one?
Ah, yes, the Kari Bear Archon quest. Lots of juicy little tidbits in there, but there was one thing in particular that completely stole the show, at least for me. Now, you see that big purple rock up there? That's the Sinner, or as I like to call him, Creepy Chasm Chad. He's the most important thing in the entire quest, as far as I'm concerned.
What Nopoly is this one?
Also, what we're going to spend this entire video investigating. Now, whatever you think is going to be in this video, I promise you, you're going to be surprised. Unless you already watched this video that Island XD made while I was busy writing this. He and I kind of had a same brain moment, and if you've already watched it, consider this video to be more like an expanded version of the ideas he presented. And of course, he's not the only one. There are definitely a bunch of threads over on Reddit that are talking about some similar ideas that I think are kind of interesting and will be approaching things from a different angle than I will be in this video. So I'm gonna also link those in the description box. Check those out after this video if you're interested. Now, I don't know about you, but I am eager to get this party started and finally get acquainted with our new best buddy, Creepy Chasm Chad, the Sinnerman Crystal Thing. Let's go. I want to start things off by kind of going over the obvious things, the things we already know, and see if we can't narrow down some candidates for the identity of our newfound sinner friend. The sinner does not consider himself a god, yet he has so much raw power that hilichurls and humans alike are compelled to bow before him when in his presence. He appears to be sentient as well, but it doesn't seem as though creatures other than the Traveler can necessarily hear him. So either this guy can telepathically speak to the Traveler directly, or the sinner is actually broadcasting his thoughts, but they're on some sort of inaudible frequency that only the Traveler can pick up on. It's kind of like that thing where the younger you are, the higher frequencies your ears can detect. If that is a real thing, I will leave a link. The sinner is obviously deeply steeped in the power of the abyss, or is the heart of the abyss itself, and it looks as though something or someone tried to restrain him somehow, if the chains holding him up are anything to go by, anyway. Unfortunately, for whoever tried that, this talking rock doesn't appear to be restricted by earthly constructs like space or time, since he can just kind of blip in and out of existence at will. At least this is my assumption. Now, I doubt someone came along and just physically moved him, especially when Dane goes out of his way to suggest that this sinner saw the Traveler via the ley line anomaly that allowed the Traveler to witness their twins' memories from hundreds of years ago. It feels far more likely that this thing actually just transcends space and time. Notice, too, how this entire encounter with the sinner takes place in the chasm, not necessarily in Sumeru. This is the place where hilichurls go to return to goo. A calm, dark place, the depths of which we experienced firsthand during the Perilous Trail quest, and I do seem to recall time getting pretty mucked up back then, too. That may or may not have been the sinner's influence, since we find him here. The chasm is also the only place so far where we find the Black Serpent Knights, and these guys are known for dropping these weird, dark statuettes. Carvings of one-eyed figures that emanate a comforting warmth.
Yeah, honestly, Loki. I'm very tired. And I think I will watch this while I eat some fucking food. But I think I'm done for now. I was tired anyway before this. Whew, okay, I got a presentation to do tomorrow. I've got a really big assignment due. Holy shit. I got things to record, got gardening to do. I have my water bottle because I left my water bottle. Oh, I gotta go to Costco. Oh. I'm gonna try to stream. Maybe I'll see what happens. We'll see. Alright. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you helping with Monopoly. If you still want to help Monopoly go, the links are going to be down under my stream. MPY Go. All you got to do is download it, get to London. It takes like maybe 20-30 minutes to do. You just got to press the button and upgrade the buildings. That's all you have to do. If you want to help out with that, it's going to be active for a week. I met some fantastic goals with that, so thank you so much for that. And if you really want to go a step further, you can go ahead and reach board 11, which might take a week. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'll try to be back later on today. I'll probably overwork myself as usual and see if I can meet the quota. We'll see what happens. If I don't, then I'm a pathetic loser who doesn't work hard enough and doesn't care about his supporters, and obviously needs to get it together because there are people that are more productive than he is, and he needs to get it together. Else he will never reach his dreams, and he will honestly always disappoint the people around him and let everybody down. And he doesn't want to do that, so he will go above and beyond, past his limitations, even if he needs a break. It's fine. That's what I'll do. Okay, I love you all. Thank you so much. Whoa! Where did I come from? Sorry. I know what came over me. Okay, all right. I love you. I'll see you later today. Hopefully. If I don't, I'll see you tomorrow, okay? All right, love you. Bye!